microphone. Hello, welcome. I never get anything right on the show, do I? Hello, welcome. It is Sunday. It is the Sunday. It is Warhammer Sunday times. It is that time of the week, if you've never seen one of these before, when I traditionally work on my Warhammer army, the unending forces of the holy contrivance. But for the last few weeks, last few months, I've not been doing that. I've been trying to catch up building the backlog of Warhammer Conquest figures and things that I'm piling up in the front room. But for the last few weeks, I've not been doing even that. I've been working on this fella here, this Funko Pop that I'm painting in the style of an angry Marine. Yes, always angry, all the time. Ooh. So welcome. We're going to crack on with him today. Now, if you've not seen one of these before, basically it's 3 hours of me doing very little work and you guys talking to each other and me just waffling on for 3 hours. But that's the idea. It's just a chance for you guys to hang out. I'm just going to turn something off because my computer's fan is screaming. There we go. It's just a chance for you guys to hang out with each other with me on in the background, basically. So that's what we're doing. As always, I have the chat. There's a chat here. Ooh, lighting's a bit bright today, but never mind. The chat is going. If you're watching this and you're not in the chat, why? You want to be in the live chat because it's awesome. I've got the live chat here on my iPad in front of me so I can see it. But it is awesome. You want to hang out. Lots and lots of lovely people in chat. And I'll be giving stickers away later on, so you need to be in chat for that. So if you're watching this and you can see this chat here, but you can't see where you do the typey, you need to watch it on YouTube. So click on the YouTube icon that's down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the video player somewhere, underneath all the slidey bars and buttons and stuff, and that will click on the YouTube icon. It'll take you to the YouTube page where you can join in the live chat. Always a good fun time in there, so do come and join. Don't forget, if you have got the live chat, if you want to ask me a question, put your comments in big fat capital letters so I have a chance to see them, because I say the chat's here on my iPad, but I will be busy painting this puppy. If you want to, you can do a super chat, which is the little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. That puts your comment in a coloured box and makes a little noise and animation, which will be up here. And I have no option but to see that. I can't possibly miss that because it's dead noisy and makes a noise and everything. So do that if you want to. And don't forget, of course, we've got our stream boss battle going on. Where is it? There it is. Stream boss battle. Simon Reynolds, Kev, our Golden Demon member. Wow, I'm really warm today. Hang on, swig of coffee. I'm talking rubbish already. Big coffee. Got the window open. It's really, really warm. The moment the camera starts, sweat time. Simon Reynolds, also known as Kev, is our current stream boss. If you want to become a stream boss, you have to get his health down to 0. And if you get his health down to 0, you come in a big pot of money or big pot of budget to buy Games Workshop stuff. Whoever gets his health to 0 wins all the money raised through super chats and through the tip jar, which is streamlabs.com/modelmakingGuru. The way you get his health down is you put a tip through the tip jar or you do a super chat. The more you put into the tip jar or the super chat, the more of his health you take off. And if you get him to 0, you become the stream boss and you win all the money raised through the tip jar and the super chat. And when Kev won, it was 500 quid. So he basically got to order 500 quid worth of stuff from Games Workshop. And you can order from Games Workshop or Forge World if you don't mind resin. And if you're in the UK or the EU, I can place the order for you from Goblin Gaming, and you'll get more bang for your buck that way. So do that. Get your tips and Streamlabs. Paul says, "Oh my God, his head fell off." Yeah, he's had a bit of a fall down. He can't get up now. So yeah, get your tips and super chats coming through. Just very quickly before we get going, of course, just to let you know, this stream and this show is supported on my channel by Goblin Gaming. Your one-stop shop for your tabletop model making and gaming needs. They are local to me and they're a great place. They've got a big play area in there, lots and lots of tables. But all their stock of Games Workshop, Malifaux and Conflict 47 is 20% off RRP all the time. So if you want to save yourself big on some Games Workshop stuff, like, any Games Workshop stuff, Conflict 47 on Malifaux, get there to Goblin Games. Also, they've got loads of other stuff as well, and it's not just tabletop miniature games, it's card games, it's trading games, all kinds of things. Soup Cat, says Skullfish. Thank you very much, Skullfish. You're very, very kind. A little £2 super chat there. Thank you very, very much. A little bit of Kevin's health come off there. Nice. Soup Cat. Do check them out. 20% off all those ranges and big savings on everything else they've got in store. And it's not just, like I say, tabletop games with miniatures. It's things like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. I don't know any other card game. I don't do tabletop gaming apart from this. But yeah, they've got loads and loads of stuff, loads of savings. Don't just go to the website though. Go to the link in the description below this video. It's down there somewhere in the blurb. The first comment in the, well, not comment, but the description is my affiliate link. If you use that link, it's in the description below. Not only do you get the big savings, you also help this channel because they know it's come from me and they give me a little bit of commission on every order you place. So if you need to pick up some stuff, or if you win the Stream Boss and you want to get 20% more stuff, because obviously everything's 20% less, you see, and you're in the UK or EU, you can go to Goblin Gaming, use the link below, and you'll save loads of money and you'll make me a little bit and help this channel. I am really warm. I am really, really, really warm. Oh, I've got the window open and everything, and it wasn't warm until I turned all the lights on. It's a nightmare. Let me swap my glasses so I can see, and we'll have a quick look at the chat, see who is in today. Somebody did ask me once why I rushed through all that stuff at the start with the sponsors and the Patreons and the Stream Boss battle. It's because I'm British and we don't like asking for money. We hate asking for money or help. So it's really uncomfortable for me to do that, so I just get through it as quick as I can. Let's have a quick look. We have... First one was Pascal, who actually commented about an hour before I set the stream up, because of course he did. So hello, Pascal. But the first comment I have here on the chat now is Nim Cinderin says, full of what? So I think that's halfway through a conversation I started that chat on the iPad. We have, so welcome Nim, we have Pascal, of course, who is in anyway. Dad is in, Dad's one of your mods, Dad, or Scaly Models. We also have Chris at Gross Models is in, and Team Inept, Paul at Team Inept, two of your other mods. They're all lovely, lovely people. They'll look after you, they'll really kind of be mother hen you and take good care of you, unless you cross them, in which case they'll burn you alive with a very small lighter, and it'll take a long time and it'll hurt. So don't cross them. Of course, because this is my stream and not anything to do with any of my sponsors, like it's not an e-model stream, you can use big grown-up swear words in the chat if you want. I don't care. Do what you want in chat. As long as it's not politics and religion and being a complete tool, you can swear all you like. I don't care. I'm not going to read it out because it's monetized, but you can swear as much as you like. I've got the burps, by the way, so I do apologise. Let's have a look. Nim Cinderin says, full of what? Pascal says food, and Nim says, now, you know the rules. What kind of food? And Pascal says, McDonald's, a sausage breakfast burger menu with a large tea, and after 3 hours, apple caramel pie ice cream. Yes, if we discuss food later on and you say you've had some food, you can't just say pizza or curry. You have to explain what's in it, because we need to know. Lynn Dipple pops in briefly and says, hi to you all, hope you have fun, I'm off to work. The answer to the question is the answer. I'll take a Goblin Game sticker, lol, bye. Yeah, Lynn's working today, so she can only pop in briefly. Hi, Lynn, bye, Lynn. More Draka is in. Time to top up the 2-litre cup of coffee. I've only got a 1-litre cup of coffee. And it's just been made, so it's really hot and I can't swig it. So I have to hope it cools down fastly. More Draka says, I've just got hot water in today as I broke mine. By the way, hello, Orn. More. Broke mine early this morning, so I've got to love having 15 litres of hot water on hand to make coffee with. And you'll never sleep drinking 15 litres of hot water of coffee. Oh, wow, hang on. Stop. Right. Take a breath, Fox. I'm just talking gibberish now. Take a breath. It's very warm. I've not done this for a couple of weeks. Big swig of coffee. There we go. I can't swig too much because it's too hot. Right. Take a breath. Chill. I'm getting dead excited. There we go. I've not worked on this for a couple of weeks. I'm dead excited. So, nose is running. I'm hot and sweaty. It's all going wrong. So, yes, Dad says you'll never sleep drinking 15 litres of coffee. Moore says, I need to top up the urn at least once a day with the 3 tea or drinkers in the house. Mayhap something Fox needs. That would be a good idea. I think we had one for a while. I think I nicked one from one of my last jobs when they went out of business, and I just kind of walked out with a load of stuff like you do when you've just been made redundant because the company's gone out the window. I'll just take this massive tea. The chair I'm sitting on right now, I'll rephrase that, sitting on right now, because I slurred my S a bit there, that came out wrong. Chair I'm sitting on right now is courtesy of a sheltered housing company that went bust I used to work for, so I just took my office chair. It's dead comfortable. So he said, take whatever you want because we're going out of business. We're going to be gone tomorrow. Nobody cares. So I took this office chair and a load of office supplies. And I've had this for like, 15 years now? And it's super, super comfortable. Let's carry on. Anyway, Eric Graham is in. Welcome, Eric. We have Jordan Capuano is in. Oh, get in. I had a stressful day so far. This notification perked me right up. Welcome, Jordan. Space Hamster ZH says, Jeebus, I thought the stream had started early. Well, I'm going to make me some eats and come back in half an hour. Yeah, I do the half-hour countdown because it gives me a chance to get ready. So I get the stream going. I've got half an hour to set everything up, dust off this palette because it's usually sitting there for a week and covered in dust. Get my coffee ready, get all the paints, and get my wet palette redone if I need. It just gives me half an hour to fart about and get everything sorted out because there's a lot of stuff I need to do. Not as much when I'm doing, say, a Gunpla stream, but this one I need to get everything ready. So, I've got the sniffles already. Good God. Der Modelbau Nerd is in. Welcome, Der Modelbau. Guten Abend. JS Idaho. Hey folks. Candygram for Mongo is in. Greetings, Candygram. Mordraka says, darn it, now I need to add the sugar to the shopping docket. Housemate's not listing it for getting any more. Coffee with honey golden syrup, not a good taste with hazelnut flavouring. Coffee with golden syrup is really nice, but not with hazelnut flavouring, yeah. Ugh. I should not have chugged that whole coffee cup right now, says Eric Graham. You should have done. It's good that you did. Chris at Gross Model says hello. He's in. Chris is another one of your mods. Chris did go to... Well, Dad asks Chris if he bought much at the Games Workshop store yesterday. Chris's local Games Workshop store, it was their store birthday yesterday. I don't think he went, but Paul from Team Inet went for him. But I don't think he came out with a rucksack and a tin box and all that stuff. I don't think he says he got a paint. A single paint. We have Eric, no, we've already said Eric Graham. Just Django, hey, finally arrived. Welcome, Just Django. We have Skullfish. Says, what's up, peons? And then everybody types in Skullfish. Positive waves, man, positive waves, says Skullfish. Osric 9000, sup, welcome, Osric. For some reason, when you say positive waves, it's reminding me of TK Baha from the original Borderlands. I don't know why. Let's have a look. People from Oddball. I don't know what Oddball is. Chris says at the Games Workshop store he bought a single pot of paint and got to support them on their birthdays. And Dad calls him lol. Result Chris brackets Skinflint. Snowman is in. Welcome, Snowman. Welcome. We have. Normal presenting has resumed, says Chris, when I messed up with the microphone. Yes. Somebody want to shake this prime before me? I'm seeing stars already, says Skullfish. Right. Oh, God, I've done that one. This stream is also supported by, and then it moved. Hang on. Oh, it's jumped. Banhammer, says Team Inept. Yes, Paul at Team Inept's a lovely bloke. You know, like I say, the mods are all lovely, but if you cross them, they'll break you in half and poop down your throat. Paul will just do that anyway, just because I gave Paul the power of being a mod and then instantly regretted it ever since. Even he said that was a bad move making me a mod. So yes, we'll see. Yeah, Paul's lovely as well, but he will ban you for everything. Ray Aquilina is in from Malta. Good afternoon to all my friends. Good afternoon, Ray. I hope you are well. Welcome. Do not get naked, warm man, says Paul at Team Inept. I will not. Because I've learned you can see reflections in my iPad screen. So, yeah. That's why I don't. Yeah. I've learned this. Gross Model says, boobs. I can say that. That's not a rude word. I am not a mother hen. I am a cock, says Team Inept. Yeah, word. Heck, says Just Django. Oh, there's my monetization gone. Frel. Oh, there's a reference. Frel. Farscape. I love Farscape. Farscape is awesome. Too many people haven't watched If you'd never watched Farscape, then when you finish this show, if you've got Amazon Prime, I think it's on Amazon Prime for free. So if you're on Amazon Prime, go and watch Farscape. Go and watch all of them. All the episodes. All of them. Just watch them all. Do it now. Not now. I mean, after this show. Dad says, let's get it done early. What's on your bench and what's in your belly? So what you're working on at the minute and what are you having for your dinner later on, or what have you had for your dinner? We know what Pascal had. And remember, you can't just say pizza or curry or stew or whatever. You've got to give us the dirty secrets of life. If it's a pizza, we need to know what kind of pizza. We need all the filth explained and described. Interzone 88 is in. Welcome, Interzone 88. Looks like we're going straight into bench and belly, so I'll get it out of the way now. Gross Model said, has a sausage roll on the bench is a foot. That makes sense to me. Sausage rolls are horrible. Jordan Capuana says, so we can't talk about but we can say, yeah, yes you can. Yeah, don't do politics and religion. The only reason I say no politics and religion is because it turns into a monkey poop fight. So we just don't discuss it. It's like this thing when you sit at dinner with your family, you never discuss politics and religion. I don't support it because it just ends up with people fighting. So I just don't even scratch that itch. I like it, he says. Oh, right. Team Annette, bench the scratch build creepy hotel. Belly gonna make chili in a bit. Oh yes. Yesterday, by the way, I made an enormous pan of spaghetti bolognese yesterday. I say bolognese. It wasn't actually bolognese. It was lamb mince for a start, which already had carrots and something else in it. But only little tiny molecular fragments of carrots and other things. Carrots and onions and lamb mince. It was sweet peppers, the long sweet red peppers. They were chopped up. It had shallots instead of onions, chopped up into little tiny bits. I put some of those in. And instead of like bolognese sauce, which is the most boring thing ever, the only thing that's more boring than bolognese sauce is peas. I got some beef and ale sauce instead, which sounded like it was going to make a wonderful spaghetti bolognese. But when I made it, it basically just vanished. I put it in and it just vanished. And what I had at the end was more like haggis, because it was just like... The thing with lamb is you put lamb mince in the frying pan, and you know, like you get beef mince and it starts pink and you brown it. Lamb mince starts brown, and when it's browned, it's brown. And it just goes from beef mince stays into little lumps. Lamb mince just goes into a morass. So it was nice. It was a bit flavourless. I had to put loads of herbs and spices and things in it. But when I put it in the pan with all the spaghettis, it just became spaghetti with a hint of powdered lamb in it. It just, don't use lamb mince. It just breaks up and becomes mush. It was all right, but so I've eaten like 2 bowls of that last night and a big bowl for me lunch today, so I'm a bit fat at the minute. But all I can get now is garlic, because I put a load of garlic in it as well to give it some flavour. Space Hamster says, I have the Farscape full series box set worth every frelling penny, and don't forget the Peacekeeper Wars, says Gross Models. Yes. Dad was in that, says Paul at Team Inept. Oh no, wait, that was Fartscape. Mordraka says, Belly, 10 litres of coffee, double bacon cheeseburger pizza, bench. Double bacon cheeseburger pizza. Okay, I had to read that. I didn't know if you meant a double bacon cheeseburger and a pizza, and I was about to tell him off for not saying what was on the pizza, but it's a double bacon cheeseburger pizza. I need to understand this. Bench fetoid bloat drone with flesh mower. Near enough. Close enough. Nim says she's got on the bench a master grade camp fur, which I need to figure out a paint scheme for, still with some 135th Army men waiting for the tamp to come in. And belly, meatloaf and mashed taters. Ooh, real food. Well done. Not like ramen or anything. Awesome. Not a sausage roll, a sausage in a roll. Oh, so you mean a sausage barn? Yeah, we have names for that up north where the normal people are. It's just called a sausage barn or a sausage bap. Sausage bap! Captain Nemo, potato, sausage and bean bake. Sounds interesting. Skullfish asks, what? Gross Model says, see confusion, what kind of sausage, to Chris at Gross Models. Space Hamster explains that the Peacekeeper Wars is in the set as well. It's all the extra add-ons as well. Something happened. What happened? Abiyu, hang on, I can't read it. Abiyu, it moved. Abiyu Ikbar Ikri, Ikbar Fik, it's moved again, hang on. Abiyu Ikbar Fikri, I do apologise, it's tiny text on my monitor and I've got the wrong glasses on. Abiyu Ikbar Fikri has subscribed, thank you very much for subscribing. Dude or dudette. Apologies, I couldn't see the text on my monitor. Thank you for subscribing. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified anytime I do a live stream. Raging Bassist is in. Welcome, Bassist. Wayne Haywood says, Belly, Turkey Sarni, bench, painting X-Wing, game acrylic tokens and building Legion things. Cool. Team Inept says, at some point, Beardy Boy, you're gonna have to suck it up and follow my slow roasted lamb recipe. It's extremely low effort for maximum sexy food times. I will do, but I hate cooking, and I've not actually. At some point, you say I've got to suck it up and follow it. I don't even know what the recipe is. You've never told me. I can't follow what I don't know. Chris says, Cumberland sausage, also multiples. Yes. Don't start that barm stuff or I'll ban you, says Team Inept. Go on, ban me, go on, ban me, go on. No, don't. You need a chat, Dolly, says Dad. Not a barn, a roll. You said it's not a barn, it's B-A-R-M for Mike. Barm, as in barm cake. A roll, it said on the packet. Nonsense, this is southern nonsense. Southern nonsense. And Jamie Byrne is in. Hey, welcome, Jamie. Says, hi, everyone. Hey, Jamie. There we go. And that's the point you have to do. Barely any cooking in the oven for ages. Done, says Paul at Team Inept. Awesome, but like I say, you've never told me the recipe, so I can't follow it. Right, that's chat up to date. Swig of coffee. I've got the moustache growing again, so I have to get rid of all the coffee that hangs around in my moustache in litres. So we're going to paint this chap today a bit more. Now, if you remember so far, we've got all the yellow stuff painted. We've done the dry brushing to get the sort of highlights on the yellow. And from last week, I went ahead and painted all the silver parts and gave them a black wash. Painted all the red parts and gave them a black wash. Painted the eyes in white, and I've got the tubing there done in multiple. This isn't actually black. It was painted. What did I paint it? It was painted Skaven Blight Dinge, and then given multiple coats of normal oil to get that kind of black rubbery look. Same with this part of the gun here, the bolter, the hand grip, to make it look more like a rubbery black rather than just black. Is same again. It's just got multiple coats of normal oil. If you want that kind of black rubbery look, normal's great. And the same for the undersuit. Again, Skaven Blight Dinge, or was it Mechanica Standard Grey? It might have been Mechanica Standard Grey or Skaven Blight Dinge, and then again multiple coats of the normal oil. Normal oil, just when it dries, it's not like black paint, because black paint is just black, Normal oil, when it dries, it because it's a glaze colour, it's a clear colour. You do get the highlight where the raised edges are, so it can save you some work sometimes. But it just has that kind of rubbery look that works really well. Balm hammer time, says Paul. Everybody's arguing now about rolls and balms. Brilliant. I didn't even say anything, and I've started the whole argument off. I'm denying all that. I'm not even involved in that conversation now. Jamie Bones says, just saw the paint set Fox got for the Panther he should have taken back to E-Models. Yes, I didn't actually take that back to E-Models. I forgot. Yes, if you don't know, yesterday a parcel turned up on the door, or there was a knock on the door. The doorbell went, so there's not a knock on the door. Oh, talking rubbish. There was a ring on the doorbell, and a big package was in the door. And I said, oh, pack our parcel. And it's either going to be for me or for Mama Fox. And often Mama Fox just buys... I shout at Mama Fox because she buys lots of things. The moment she discovered she could order things on Amazon, she went crazy buying stuff. But she buys stuff for the garden, like, you know, ornaments and things for the garden or bird feeders. She buys stuff for the house, like little lights and things like that, which is quite nice. But she never buys anything for herself. Or she might buy little things for me, little silly trinkets and bits and bobs and nice little things. And I tell her off because I say, look, stop buying me little things. Just spend money on yourself. Buy yourself something nice. So she said, oh, she got the parcel and it was addressed to her. And she went, oh, that one's for you. And I'm like, oh, you've done it. I told you, don't spend money on me. Spend money on yourself. So I opened it up and I got that. It's the Vallejo Panzer Aces camouflage colours. I'm like, oh, I take it back. Thank you very much. So I let her off this time, spending money on me. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 16 colours, greens and browns, and some really nice colours in there. And they are basically, let's see, a dot P pattern, Italian pattern, plain tree pattern, and oak leaf pattern colours. Colour system design in collaboration with Panzer Aces magazine for reproducing the colours of the uniforms of tank crews and general armed forces in WWII. So yeah, they're just a nice general range of greens and browns, because World War II was kind of green and brown, obviously. So you've got lots of US olive drab, you've got, I can't tell what that is, lots of beiges and browns, you've got a German something, they're all turned around the wrong way. So lots of greys and browns. It's a wonderful set. I do like Vallejo paints. I've got quite a collection of Vallejo paints. I know I tend to use Citadel a lot, but I do use Vallejo quite a lot. These are going to go into my Vallejo collection. And yeah, like Jamie says, I could have used these on that big Panther 5, Panther Ausf G that I've got. I was going to build for E-Models. There's an update on that, if you remember. So thank you, Mama Fox, for my paints. I've got that big Panther Ausf G that I was going to be my E-Models build until I said to them, can I do the perfect grey Millennium Falcon instead? So when we went to E-Models a couple of weeks ago, I was going to take that Panther back with me and give it them back, and they could put it back in stock. But when I went there, James, who's the manager at E-Models, was like, no, I would have told you to keep it because you can do that one next. And I'm like, oh. Because I was up for doing it, and then I looked at the 3,000 part tracks, and I'm like, oh, I'm scared now. However, that may now be going to one of the other E-Models builders to build. So more will be revealed in the future. So basically, I managed to get out of building it. Because I opened it up and looked at all the track parts and was like, yeah, I don't want to do this now. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big tank builder. I don't mind building tanks. But when I saw all the multi-part tracks, I'm like, panic, run, eject. People are still talking about sausages. Oh, dear. Space Hamster says, belly, macaroni and wieners. Bench, still working on those clan rats. Clan Rats. Panzer Aces colours are really nice. They're Skullfish. Yeah, I do enjoy the Vallejo colours. They do. You don't often see me use them, but I do use them. I do have, for example, one of my favourite colours is Steel Grey that I'm using on the Cesabe. It's a blue colour and it's called Steel Grey. Another one I used on the Cesabe was French Blue, which is grey. So Steel Grey is blue and French Blue is Steel Grey. Excellent. But yeah, it's a really nice colour. When I did the little Imperial Skitter free models that had a little sort of Warhammer dudes, the Imperial Guard dudes, I painted their armour with that. It's a good Space Wolves colour, that. Yeah, so I do like the paints. They behave a little bit differently, but I quite like them. Chris at Gross Model says, I played Destiny 2 again this morning. I have no idea where I should go or what to do. I left it too long. Ben, you just play it more. Snigger, you said wiener, says Skullfish. Let's have a look. Jamie Bone says, belly roast chicken and all the trimmings. I knew you were going to say that. You have a good regular ingress of roast chicken dinners, you do. And all the trimmings. Bench, 135th World War II British tank crew. Cool. Chicken dinner, says LD. Hey everyone. He says, welcome LD. So chicken dinner, day off painting. Yes, you can't make 35. You've got to have a day off from making 13 gunpla a week. I don't know. Anyway, let's do some work. So, we have this little chap. I'm going to put some gloves on today because I am sweating a bit. It's a bit warm in here and I don't want to get mess all over it. And also I don't want to start chipping the paint off. So, I'm going to put some gloves on today. Now, as I say, you can see I've gone ahead and did the metallic parts a little bit. From last time we were on. I didn't go too far ahead. I did paint the undersuit. I tidied up all the red areas. And you'll notice I have now glued him, I've physically glued him to a base. I wasn't sure what kind of base to put him on, because all the Games Workshop ones are actually too small or too big, basically. I didn't want a big massive base where it's just him on there, because he'd just be lost in it. Whenever you're basing a model, you need to make sure the base works. You want a bit of scenery on it maybe, perhaps, but not too much. You don't want to go too crazy. Otherwise, the model you've built, if I built a base this big and put loads of scenery and stuff, you just get lost in it, and he is the focal point. So all I did was that I had him on a lid from an empty tub of the Masters brush cleaner, because it was just a temporary thing where I had him blue tacked on just for painting and handling. I had a spare one, so all I did was I sprayed it with black primer and I've super glued him to it. What I didn't actually just super glue him because I wanted to make sure he's permanently fixed, but I didn't want to go too crazy with the super glue, because if you do a lot of super gluing where there's already paint, it'll tend to go foggy and frosty and it can ruin your paint job. So you've got to be careful with super glue. So what I did was I drilled some holes in the bottom of his feet and some holes in the bottom of the base here. I got 2 little pieces of acrylic rod. I've got a big collection of acrylic rods. Put them in the holes in the feet so they come through to the bottom of the base, and I've just super glued it there. And I put a little bit of very thin super glue it run around the end of the base of the feet, so it's sucked underneath with the capillary action. And that's glued it in place. And you can see, there's like a little white mark. Let me get a pointy stick. You might see a little white frosty mark there. Kind of there. That's exactly what I'm talking about with super glue. If you put on too much, it can fog up and frost. Now you can remove it with alcohol, but that could potentially remove the paint. So luckily I avoided that doing any damage to the paint on the feet. So the paintwork on the feet is fine, it's untouched. So he's glued on there and he's mounted permanently. So when we've got him all painted, we can start putting some texture on that. It's only got a rough coat of primer on it for now. I'm not bothered about painting underneath. Rough coat of primer, so that I'll get another coat of paint and all that kind of stuff, and it'll look fantabulous. It's a bit scratchy because it's not got any varnish on it and I've been handling it, so there you go. So today, what we're going to do is, I'm not sure today because I've got to do the highlight colours on the metallics and the reds and the greys and the whites, but I've also got to at some point start painting on all the markings, because remember this is Angry Marines. Now if you haven't seen what the Angry Marines are, if you don't know what Angry Marines are, I'll show you now. An Angry Marine is, let me go here and press that is an Angry Marine. It's a fan-made chapter of Space Marines. They're always angry all the time, hence their catchphrase, always angry all the time. And they swear a lot and they're just hyper-violent. But as you can see, they're not exactly family-friendly. So I won't be giving this to my local Warhammer store manager to put in his window display. No, I won't be doing that. So that's what we're working on. So it's all yellows and reds. It's got a very Pokemon-style colour to it. So that is what we're working on today. I've got some things missing on my screen there. Hang on. I forgot the header. There we go. Technical wonderness. I left loads of things turned off. Brilliant. There you go, Fox. Well done. I don't know. So that's what we're working on. So what I might start doing is I'll start doing the red. I'll start doing the highlights on the reds and things. I'm not going to do the metallics just yet. I might leave them to the very, very end. Because what I might do is get everything done, get him all painted up, get him matte varnished, and then do the metallics. Because the metallics are just the lead belcher with a coat of Nuln Oil. And of course what you do is you go back then with your other metallic colours. But if you do that, they'll get matte varnished. So I might leave that till after the matte varnish has gone on. Then I can go over and you'll get shiny metals that way. So what we're going to do is I'm going to quickly just double check. How's that doing? Microphone is... How's my audio, by the way? My microphone's saying it might be a little bit loud, but we'll find out. You can't start yet. It's only been half an hour, says Chris. Shut up. Yeah, I know. I'm starting early. What can I say? Let's have a quick look at chat. LD says, I've looked at the bits I've got a nub and said, no, I've been doing this for 2 weeks now, this one, and thought I'd better make some time for the kids, plus waiting on an order of matte clear. There you go. No wonder he's angry, he says Skullfish. Every week you decapitate him live on the telly, now you drill posts into his feet. Could have been worse. I was going to drill a hole into his butt, but for something else, for like mounting him while I painted him, but I didn't. Right. Thy creator is in. Welcome, thy creator. Eric Graham says, then again he has to explain what he's done since last time for the 15 minutes. Yes, I have to explain everything. Right, so let's do some red. So we painted this with Mephiston red. Dad's gone suddenly quiet and he's got that look on his face. He's making his O face. Mephiston red with a shade of Nuln Oil. So what we're going to do is we are going to go over the Mephiston red with Evil Sun's Scarlet. Shaker, 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 shaker. Now, I've not got much of this left in the pot, so I'm not sure how long we'll get on here, but we'll try. So I've got my wet palette. Wet palette. Dad says, woohoo! Taking the lid off. Opening the lid would also be helpful. Oh, it's really... Already, look at that. A pot of Evil Sun. If you've been watching my Gumpler build streams, this pot of Evil Sun Scarlet has fought me all the way with blebs of paint coming off on my gloves. I'm not having it. Not on a Warhammer Sunday show. It can just not do that. So there we go. So that should hopefully be enough. I'm going to just put that there and stare at it and glare at it now. Glower at it for putting paint on my hands. Get that off there. So that's my palette dishing brush. I've got an old brush that I use just for dishing paint onto the palette. I never use my actual painting brushes for that purpose, because you want to try and avoid getting paint into the ferrule. Right, so make sure there's no paint on my hand. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start some layering. What brushes have we got? We've got an artificer brush that's far too small, but I'll put it there. I'll put it there. If I put it there. This is one of the old Games Workshop palettes, so it's the pad things, so it's got little holes on the side for brushes, which is kind of cool. So I might need the artificer. What have we got? We've got a layer brush. A layer brush will do. There we go. So we've got now we want to do this as not a glaze. Let me just get my helmet of seeing. Raging Basis says, off to Goblin Gaming tomorrow night, going to pick up a Clockwork Dragon mini before I play Dungeons and Dragons. I have £20 burning a hole in my pocket. Good girl. And of course, like I said at the start, Goblin Gaming, my channel supporters, there's a link in the description below the video. They will give you 20% off. Games Workshop, Forge World and Malifaux. No, Games Workshop, Conflict 47 and Malifaux. So depending on what you're buying basis, you might save a bit more, you might get more for your money. So I'm going to go over. Now I could theoretically go over with the Mephiston red first, but it's fine. I'm going to go over with the Evil Suns because I want this to be a bright red anyway. So the first thing I'm going to do is, and we're going to go over. Now I might be thinking, why am I? That's a bit too thin. Why am I going to go over the Mephiston red? I've gone to all the trouble of like getting Mephiston red and then going over it with Nuln Oil. So why am I now going over it with another colour? What's that all about? And the thing is, I'm not going over all of it completely. if you notice, what I'm doing is I'm leaving a line of the dark Mephiston red around the edges where the Nuln Oil is, and that's just to give that shading effect. I'm not covering the whole thing completely, I want that line. It'll look a bit stark, but we're kind of going to do this cartoony style anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So we're just going to go over this and just leave a line of the darkness, for example on these pauldrons, just where it meets the red bit meets the yellow bit, so you've got this almost like shade effect, this shadow effect. Now it's quite thin, so I'm going to have to do more than one coat because that's quite brush strokey, but I do want this to be quite a bright red. So we'll just go in and oops, mess it up. There you go, brilliant. Not to worry though, I've got a bit of splodges here and there, but I can always go over with a bit more Nuln Oil or Mephiston red to tidy that up if I need to. So I'm just going to, that'll require another coat because that's quite patchy. Patchy, we don't need no stinking patchy, senor. I am thinking as I'm doing this, I might have been better doing the Mephiston red again first. But hey, I've committed now. It's fine. It's all part of the learning process. Because when you're doing this kind of painting, the idea is that the idea of doing the shade and then layers on top is that the idea is not to completely cover over everything you've just painted so far. Like if you paint something and then you do a shade over the top and then you're going over it again, you're not completely covering everything you just painted. Otherwise there's absolutely no point doing the shade layer. The point is, you put down your base colour first, the shade is then to darken that base colour. And then when you go over with either the base colour again or another layer colour like this red, the whole point is you want to leave some areas where it's just the base colour with the shade on top. Because your shade is what you're creating the dark shadows with. It's a bit like post shading again in a way, I suppose. Now this layer brush is not doing me any favours. It's going all, it's brand new, but all the hairs are sticking out. So what I'm going to do, that needs some corrective work, I think. It might be an old one that I've forgotten. It's an old brush. Let's try. Do. Let's try. Do. Where's my other? Let's try my regiment brush. There we go. My army painter regiment brush. Tried and tested. Also, it's a bit bigger as well, which makes life a little easier. So on these bits on the armour, we're just gonna. We're not doing an edge highlight yet. We're just painting in raised areas. So you are painting over a lot of the stuff you've already painted, but leaving perhaps the edges just because you can work them into bigger shadows. And also on these bits of armour here, for example, I might focus this highlight more on the tops where the light would catch, and not so much down at the bottom where it will be darker. So what I'll do is down here, I will take a little bit of water, get the brush a bit damp, little tiny bit of water, real almost nothing, and I'm just going to blend it a little bit now into the darker red. Now the trick is, when you're doing this kind of, any kind of glazing or like this effect, I'm just taking some water and blending the red. I may have left it too long, to be honest. Is where the brush finishes is where the most paint gets deposited. So keep that in mind. Little subtle strokes like that, and then get the brush damp and just blend those in a little bit. It won't look fantastic, it won't look brilliant. I mean, we're going to put chipping and stuff on here. It's just a good way to soften it a little bit. If you're doing a perfectly clean build of this without any weathering, you wouldn't probably do this because it's a bit rough and ready. But if you're doing a weathered version like this, then you don't need to worry about that. We can just build that up on there. I'll come back to the pauldrons in a minute, of course. I'm keeping a line of the dark red there to act as almost like a shadow. and then we just work our way around. I can always come back with the shades again later if I need to. Oops. Some of these paints are really good for this kind of wet blending. Some of them they're a bit more resistive to it. This Evil Sun Scarlet is not one of the best ones for doing that effect, but it's fine. So here we'll just work that in. I'll leave it for a minute because it's kind of getting a bit streaky. So we'll come back to that in a moment. How is everyone anyway? I hope you're all well. I'm kind of not talking a lot at the minute because I'm painting right now, but I hope you are all well and fine and dandy. Can't think of any news at the moment that I might have for you. Nothing really to report much at the moment. If you're looking for things to watch, I have been watching at the moment, although I've still been watching James Burke's Connections, still working my way through all the different series, and some of his other documentaries, not a lot of them, other documentaries that are on the internets. I've also been watching I, Claudius again, which is jolly good fun. I, Clav Divs. I've got the box set, so I was watching that yesterday a little bit, and over the last few days. Always good fun to watch that. Right, so I'll do the skull here, a little bit on the skull. So again, we're just going for highlight areas. I don't know if you can see any of this. I'm just going for highlight areas. I'm not getting it into any of the recesses. I want the dark red, the shaded Mephiston red, to still be there around the edges to give it a sort of three-dimensional look. That's the whole point of doing this. You're not painting over everything completely. If you paint something blue and then put a shade on it and then just go over it completely with a different blue at the top, you've just wasted the first blue coat and the shade, basically. So always keep that in mind. You want to see some of it showing. So the first coat of this Evil Suns is a bit transparent, so it's a bit patchy, but then when I do another coat, I might do less around, do a smaller area, and it'll do like a kind of, not a fade, but it'll do a little bit of a fade. I'll come back to the pauldrons with a bigger brush in a bit. Okay, so we've got the gun to do, the gun casing. Casing is there. So what we're going to do is we're going to... I'm not quite sure how to do the sort of cylinders and things with this brush painting technique. I don't want to paint the whole thing. By the same point, it can't not be highlighted. So I might just focus it around the edge there, and I hope you can see all this. I don't know what you can actually see, so just focusing on the top edge a little bit, using a little bit of a stripe line technique, just so I can get a kind of sort of rough blend between the dark red at the bottom and the lighter red colour at the top. So the bottom of this scope will be the darker red, and the top area will be the lighter red. You can build it up in little stripes a bit, because you have to remember the paint will always dry darker. So if the paint looks bright when you paint it on, it will get darker as it dries, so don't panic too much. Again, apologies if half of this is stuff you can't see. Obviously I've got to prioritise me being able to see what I'm doing. But especially with paint like the Evil Suns, which is kind of transparent, so you can build it up quite nicely. Now this bit here we've got underneath there. So I'm kind of doing a sort of Games Workshop style edging and highlighting, sort of, not massively, but a little bit perhaps of that. But we'll have stuff to add to any weathering and stuff. So this here can be red. Now I'm going to do like a sort of an edge highlight for some of this, so I don't worry if I'm like catching edges and stuff. It's fine. But I'm not the best at doing that kind of Games Workshop style. I have to admit, openly admit that I'm not the best at that, at reproducing it. I'm good at getting red paint on silver bits though. Don't. Come off. There you go. Get off. There we go. And it's hard even for me to sometimes remember that the paints do dry and blend away a little bit. It's hard to even for me to remember that, so don't panic if you start thinking you messed things up. You haven't. So we'll get that done there. So a lot of this will be the lighter red colour. It will get some chipping and stuff as well. Ooh, pooper rats, says Space Hamster. Pooper rats. Thank you very much, Space Hamster. Pooper rats. Pooperazzi. Are they the ones that take photographs? I'm here all week. Try the fish. Thank you very much for that. That's a little bit of Kevin's health come off the stream boss battle. Now there is a little sort of bit here, like an ejection port for casings, that I'm going to have to do a shade in there because it's supposed to be dark, but it's not very deep, so I couldn't get a good load of shade in there, unfortunately. But I'll have to come back to that at another time. So I'm going up to the Aquila, but I'm not painting right up to the edge. I'm leaving a little bit of the dark Mephiston red shaded area. And it looks a bit rough and ready now, but once we've got like chipping and weathering, and I might do some outlining on this, I don't know, you know, some ink outlining, I don't know yet. But once we've got everything else in it, it'll all blend together, hopefully anyway. It can look a bit rough around the edges when you're just doing these initial paint coats. But that's why I've got this red a little bit thinner than normal. Not massively, just a little tiny bit. I've got some red on the black there. That can come off. There we go. I'll touch that in later. It's fine. A little bit here, but I don't want to get it on the fingers. Got to be careful. There we go. It's hard to do this on camera, I've got to be honest with you. It's hard enough doing it in real life, but doing it when you're on camera as well. And I've got to be conscious of you actually seeing things. Yeah, it's a bit challenging. But I wouldn't change it for the world. Also, let me know if my head keeps coming to shot, because I don't know if my head's just getting in the way or not. I have no idea. Okay, so a bit patchy there, but we're going to do more than one coat. The inside of the weapon on here, this side, I might leave that with its coat of null oil, because it's meant to be a bit darker. Might give it a little bit of a zizz, I don't know. We'll do a little bit, what we can get to. Because it wouldn't be completely dark and in shadow. I'll be honest with you, I foresee this bit actually ruining the whole paint job, because I'm not very good at doing this. This kind of brush highlighting like this, I'm not the best at it. But we'll see, we'll see. It's also quite hard to get to most of it. Okay. Rhodey Hobby Corner's in, welcome Rhodey. I do apologise if I'm not talking to you in chat much. Look after yourselves for a bit. I'm just obviously busy doing this. So amuse yourselves while I work away for your entertainments. Got quite a bit of this to do. Although I must remember to not stop talking, because that's kind of rude and not awesome. Yeah. Also, I find I'm having some surface tension issues at the moment with the. I don't know what's going on. It's almost like there's something on the surface of the model that's causing surface tension issues, but there shouldn't be anything on. There's nothing on the surface of the model I've put there, so I don't know what's causing that. I do not know. There's no way to find out. How can we possibly find out such things? No way to know. Do 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 do. So we have this kneecap here to do. The red kneecap area. Again, it will take multiple coats of this, so I'm not too worried about rough and readiness. Just at the moment. I'm struggling to find places to hold him though. Hold me! Now I did get a bit more of a shade on one side of his knee, and I quite like that, so I might actually leave that so it looks a little darker on one side, because it just makes it interesting. We've got these bits on the ankles, which will be naturally redder and lighter at the top, so I can afford to focus the bright red on the top. Okay, it does look patchy right now, but again, that's just because it's the first coat. I'm not worried. Not worried yet, anyway. Also, is it on camera or not? I don't know. Am I on camera? Am I not on camera? I have no idea. I can afford a few slightly cartoony brush marks because they'll be covered up in weathering, and it kind of fits with the theme of it as well. It is slightly cartoonish, so we'll just do that. I'll do it in little strokes, so it's got a kind of cartoonish look to it. A little bit of this here, and the same on this one. Which way do we go with that one? That way. So do the same again. Go from the top and just do some little cartoony lines. There we go. I hope you can see all this. I have no idea. Do tell me. There's not much I can do in terms of angles because I've got to do it so I can paint it. Yeah. We're also going to have dust and dirt on the feet down here anyway, so a lot of this, any kind of attempt at blending might be hidden away. Dirt und Dust, ja, das ist richtig. So that's the first coat. I've got bits on the head to do as well. On the bonds. On the bonds. On the bonds. Do 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 do. Sniffly nose, super match game. Super match game. So when you're doing this kind of layering, it can look at first like you've made a complete arse of it, because you think, oh, it looks terrible. I've not got a good blend or whatever. Or it looks too obvious that it's gone from one to the other. But on the assumption that you're doing any kind of cartoony art on it anyway, or any kind of weathering, keep in mind, like I say, the coat you're painting on will darken and go less obvious as it dries, especially if it's a little bit thin more than normal. It will blend away a little bit, just of its own volition, and it'll look a bit streaky now, and you just have to do more than one coat. But keep in mind as well, you can cover a lot of sins with weathering. So if I was doing, let's say, an ink outline on this, I've got a dark patch there where you've got the red and the yellow. So I'll zoom in a little bit so you can move the camera closer. I don't know if I can move it closer, but we'll see. I'll change the focus for you. Hang on. I can't talk with a paintbrush in my mouth. Hang on a minute. Whoa. Right, where's me? There's me. There we go there. Hang on. Wrong glasses. Ugh, hang on. Right. Where is the focus? Let me go here and do this and change the focus for you. That reaches here. There we go. There we go. So you might get a better view now. Maybe. Right. I need to quickly wipe my nose because I've got the sniffles because of the heat. And this again, like I said, is only the first coat of the red, so there's plenty more to do yet. Right, so before I do the second coat, let me have a quick look at the chat because I've missed quite a bit. I might skip around a bit because I don't want to spend all day doing the chat. Chris, after Raging Base, said he's going to Goblin Gaming. Chris very kindly posted the link to Goblin Gaming, my affiliate link, in the chat. Remember, the link for Goblin Gaming below. If you're going to go to Goblin, use that link below that's underneath the video here in the description. It's the first thing in the video description. That's my affiliate link. If you use that link, it tells them that I've sent you, and they give me a little bit of commission. It doesn't cost you any more. You don't pay any more, but I get a little tiny bit of commission off that. So it really helps out this channel because it keeps my lights on. Let's have a look. People are talking about games. Snowman says, need to go, a massive headache, have a good day all. Sorry to hear that, Snowman, and that I missed you. But yeah, I've got a bit of a headache today, but I'll soldier through. But yes, nothing worse than a headache. Right, Danny Sharple says, what would you recommend to fix slightly splitting brushes or just buy new? Okay, yes, and there's an answer there that does actually answer it. Okay, the reason that you get, if you get, I'll get a big brush so I can demonstrate. Let's pretend for a minute, if I can get this brush out. Hang on. Oh, okay, I can't use that brush, it's jammed in place. Pretend for a minute that this is a standard rounded tipped brush, like that. Just forget that it's flat. If you suddenly find that your bristles are sticking out like this, or it's just like that, it's no longer, let's say it's normally that shape and it's got a nice point to it. Forget that it's flat. And you suddenly find that instead of being a nice pointy bristles, it's all like this. So it looks like, have I got a crappy old brush? Let's have a look. I can't find one. Exactly when I need to show you a crappy old brush, I can't find one. For example, this used to have a nice round point to it. Yeah, it's now got like a bit of a buzz cut going on the top. That's because I use it as a dry brush and it's use it for powder, so it's knackered. So ignore that. But imagine that you had like some of the fibres sticking out like that, and it no longer held a point. The reason that happens is two reasons. If like on that brush, the tips are all sticking out. There, like a kind of, that's only because I'm doing this all the time and jabbing it, so it ruins the ends. So if you're going to be doing any kind of stippling, use an old brush. Don't use a good brush. But if you had like fibres sticking out like this, and it was kind of like that shape, instead of, I wish I had a brush to show you. Instead of being like a nice pointed shape, it's all, you know, like that. It's just splayed out. There's only one reason for that, and that is because you've got all the bristles of the brush here, and then there's the metal bit here. That's called the ferrule. This is the metal bit's the ferrule, and all these bristles, they go down into the ferrule. They go all the way down, and then they're glued at the bottom. So the bristles on your brush are actually like that long. Now, what happens is if you get paint in the bristles, and it works its way into the ferrule, it gets between the bristles, and if you like take my finger here, it's like bang, it gets between them, and then it goes in there, and then it dries and it becomes rock hard, but it's pushing those bristles apart. So what you start off with a brush like that, and then as paint gets in the bristles inside the ferrule, they start to push apart, and that's how you get brushes that look like that. If it's a cheap and cheerful brush, don't throw it away, just keep it for crappy stuff like, I don't know, adding pigment powders and things like that. Don't worry about it. If it's a cheap crappy brush you're not really fussed about, just, you know, use it for scruffy stuff and adding texture to bases and things where you don't really care about the brush. If it's a nice brush, like I've got these Army Painters or my Winsor & Newton Series 7, things like that, if it's a nice brush, then one thing you can do is you can try a good proper brush cleaner. Some people just use like isopropyl alcohol or thinners for their bristles. If it's an artificial bristle brush, that might be fine. But if you've got natural fibres like, you know, horsehair, squirrel hair, Kolinsky sable, anything like that. Yes, I said squirrel hair. Or, you know, pig bristle for some of the like more stipply brushes. you don't really want to use things like thinners and alcohols, because think of it like your hair. If you wash your hair in alcohol, in like isopropyl alcohol, can you imagine what it'd be like after a month? It'd just be dry and cracky and horrible. I use Masters Brush Cleaner. A lot of people use this. There is in the description, I'm going to pimp here, but in the description below the video there is a link to my Amazon store. You can get it from there, either this size or that size, one of the two. This stuff is basically a pot of hard stuff. It smells like lemon cheesecake. It smells edible. And all you do is you get some slightly warm water, damp your brush, do it round in the soap. It's just like a big block of soap. Get a good lather going, massage it a little bit, rinse it off, and then store it with bristles down. So what happens basically is this stuff will remove oils, enamels, lacquers. It will really do a good job of cleaning your brush. It won't get rid of it 100% all the time, but sometimes it will. So if you get a new brush and every time you finish painting for the day, you clean it with this. If it's really knackered now and there's paint really in the ferrule, you may be stuck with that. That's what I'm saying. Just keep it as a scruffy brush. This will get rid of a lot of it, but it might not get rid of all of it. But it may restore it to usability again. So give it a try. But if you regularly maintain your brush and clean it properly, I've had this for about 2.5, 3 years now, and it's not knackered at all. It still works perfectly, because every time I finish for the end of the day, I clean all my brushes. The other golden rule is when you store a brush, if it has a plastic tube, then you can store it that way. If it's got a plastic tube, always store it bristles down. Because then when you cleaned it out, any little paint particles that are still in the bristles, they're going to run down towards the tip of the bristles and just collect there, and they'll come off next time you use it. If you store your brush like that and there are only little paint particles left in the bristles, then when you store it, they'll just work their way down into the ferrule, and over time they build up. So always store it bristles down if you've got a plastic tube. If you haven't, don't ever store it bristles down on a surface, because you'll knacker the bristles. Always make sure it's either in a plastic tube, or if you've not, then hold it with something, clamp it, or get a brush holder where it can float in free air. It's not like touching a surface. It's hanging up in the air, but it's down like that. I've got a paintbrush rack off the camera there where I can store them like that. But this is why you always keep never throw the plastic tube away. Always keep your plastic tube. Masters Brush Cleaner. You can get it most places. The one that's in my Amazon store, it seems to be only available to get from the States, so it takes about a week and a half to get to you, but it's only about 4 or 5 quid. Also, by the way, my Amazon store is UK only. You can still order stuff from there, but I don't get any benefit if you're outside the UK. So, but feel free. If it's just a convenient place for stuff to be listed, it don't really bother me. People are still talking about some stuff, game playing stuff. Danny Sharper says, only recently got into Warhammer paintings. I want to know stuff before it happens. Thanks, guys. Yep, no worries at all. That's the trick. I mean, even Warhammer Games Workshop brushes, they'll fall apart and explode within a week of using them. But if you look after them, they can last you quite a while. I mean, I've got a big collection here. These are all scruffy brushes. These are all my scruffy brushes. And we've got base brushes, we've got layer brushes, we've got some graduate, Dale Growney graduates. I've got a couple of Wargamer ones that went a bit funky. That one there, I don't know if you can see, that one is kind of, it's not got a point at all, it's a bit fuzzy around the edges. That's supposed to be an insane detail brush. I mean, a detail brush, but it just lost its point. I forgot to clean it out once and it just eventually lost its point. So now it's a scruffy brush. So don't throw brushes away. These are all scruffy brushes, but this is kind of my dry brushing pot, because there's lots of dry brushes, but some of these scruffy brushes, like old Games Workshop base brushes, this is the medium base brush, once they no longer really work very well or they lose their point, they're actually fantastic as very small dry brushing brushes. So don't throw brushes away unless it's completely clogged up with, say, masking fluid or something else. Don't throw them away. Dad says, no worries, ask away, Danny. Too thin coats, rule 1. Yeah, so if you're to get into Warhammer painting, ask anything you want. That's what we're here for. If I'll post it, hang on, I'll post it in chat for you. There's a couple of things you can do. First and foremost, if I find the chat thing, you should join the Model Makers Boom Hut if you haven't already. I've just put the link in there for you. It's my Facebook group and it's full of people who are happy to help you, and there's no snark and no bitching. So ask any question you want and everyone will try and help you. They're all wonderful people. Got like 4,000 people in there now. But also just ask everything. subscribe to and watch as many different YouTube channels as you can that deal with Warhammer. Most notably, of course, Warhammer TV, which is where you get Duncan and Peachy and the other guy I'm not keen on, Nick, teaching you how to paint in their style. That's just it's like the Warhammer TV stuff is kind of beginner style. It's not going to teach you how to paint something that's going to win a Golden Demon, but it'll get you started on tabletop quality. I've been doing that. Started on some Stormcast Eternals and then had a go at Tau, says Danny Sharples. Totally different worlds of mini painting. Oh yeah. Nimsinderian says we have what? Oh no, you're talking about gaming again, aren't you? So name of people talking. I'm going to scoot ahead a little bit because we'll be here all night. Dad also put the link for the Boom Hut in. I think you've already had this conversation basically, so I'll just scoot forward and catch up here. I missed you out. If you've said something interesting and I missed you, I do apologise. Paul Di Tommaso is in. Hey Paul. Eon's car is in. Welcome Eon's car. Eric Graham says, good crowd today. Where is everyone from? Lafayette, Indiana here. There you go. That gets the lurkers out into the chat. People who are watching but they don't join in the chat. Where are you based? Where are you right now? I am in Cheshire in the UK. I'm a northern lad up in the northwest, just outside Manchester. I'm in Greater Manchester, just outside Manchester. I'm in technically Cheshire. Or as Paul from Team Inept Gaming would say, I would want to say reader's wife there, but that's not what I was thinking at all. A footballer's wife. Readers' wives is something else completely. Paul knows all about that. You're in Manchester, accept it, says Paul. No, I'm not. I'm Greater Manchester. I'm outside the conurbation. I'm in the conurbation of Greater Manchester, which is outside Manchester Centre. I'm Cheshire. My postcode is Cheshire. I'm in Cheshire too, says Dad. Oh yeah, that's kind of technically right, isn't it? Dad's the Scouser, but he's technically in Cheshire. Cheshire's quite big. Cheshire for the win, says Raging Bassist. Yeah, Raging Bassist is not super local to me, but he's local enough that he can visit Goblin Gaming as well, in person. Space Hamster is in Zurich, hence ZH on the end of Space Hamster. I've just realised that. So you're in Zurich. Do you pronounce the CH as sh or as ch? Is it like Zurich, or is it Zurich, or is it Zurich? Zurich? I don't know how Zurich people pronounce Zurich. We say Zurich because we're idiots and we're like, don't know anything, pronounce anything. Grace Model's in London. So he's just basically saying he's in that. He's being very non-specific there. Jamie Bone says, Martok in Somerset, or right, my barber. Ian's car is in Bristol, which I'll use the same accent for that then. Bristol and Somerset all get my Phil the Dig accent. That's right, Tony. It's Roman architecture here. You've got the layers of Roman pottery. Then underneath that, you've got the Anglo-Saxon. Paul Di Tommaso's in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and he's in the. I'm just gonna quickly. No offense, Dad. I'm just removing something a bit specific there. Hopefully, nobody noticed that. I don't like to be too specific. Roadie Hobby Corner. Hang on, I've jumped ahead there. Nimsinderian is in Buffalo, Cheektowaga. I was trying to get that right, Cheektowaga. New York, depends on what side of the house I'm in. You're obviously right on the border of some sort. Wayne Haywood is West Midlands, all right. That's Birmingham, that's the wrong accent completely. Let's have a look. Slovenia is just Django, and I keep forgetting it's not just Django, it's Django, because it's just... you cast a rod for your own back there, Django, I tell you. What's your name? Django. Why do you call it just Django? Because it's just Django. But then you just Django. Moving on. Chester, says Osric. Ooh, you're near Dad then, if you're in Chester. Okay, in Space Hamster says, actually on a local dialect you don't pronounce the CH at all, you just pronounce it Zuri. Okay, Zuri. I'm going a bit French there, I know. I always get French and Teutonic accents are kind of a bit messed up. Mordrak is in Rockhampton, Queensland, Australia. G'day, bro. Roadie Hobby is in Belgium. Aeon's car is near Downend. Dad says, I have to have a coffee, Roadie, if you make it. I'm going with Dave from Butcher That Model. I think we're talking about Telford. Lewis Williamson is, hi all, on way back from Birmingham, alright, to Wainfleet near Skegness. Wow. Alright, Birmingham. Captain Weirbeard, see all the people who normally just watch and don't join in the chat come out, they all unlurk. It gets the lurk. It's like shining a torch on the old wooden shed, and all the creatures come out that don't like the light, you see. Captain Weirbeard says New Mexico. Cool. You're kind of close to Lynn, but not that close. Then again, close in America is a different thing to close in the UK. like London is next door to you guys. For me, but it's like 300 miles away. Paul at Team Inept says, I'm in Chris's driveway watching him. Yeah, Paul and Chris live quite close to each other, so Paul could literally be in Chris's house right now. Edward Leonard is in West Palm Beach in Florida. Chris says, I thought I smelt something. Biscuit, says Paul at Team Inept. Cheek to Wag, I say you were close. Almost got it right. Sorry, Nim. Brothers live in Downend. Dad says brother lives in Downend. I was brought up in Speedwell. To Eon. This is my first time actually watching, says Danny Sharples, and already enjoying myself. Welcome. Well, you're more than welcome. As you found out, this is probably the most work I've done in a stream in a long time. I tend to just waffle on for 3 hours because I understand that most of you are actually physically watching this. Most of you don't sit and watch me do nonsense on screen. You just have me on in the background. But you're more than welcome. My entire purpose and reason for being, and the reason this channel exists, is A, to earn me a living without having to work for the man 9 to 5. Thank God. And one day I will actually earn enough to pay the bills and stuff. But the main reason I set up this channel and do my stuff and did the Boom Hut is because I want to teach people how to do stuff. Not that I think I'm any good. I'm not a professional. I'm a lazy ass painter. I hate building, but I love painting. I'm lazy and I'll always find little shortcuts and ways to get around things. But my entire purpose is to teach people who are just starting out that a lot of the techniques that us model makers use look completely baffling and scary and complicated. In reality, they're really simple. And if an idiot like me can do some stuff, then anybody can do what I do. And if you watch my Who is Model Making Guru, it says I firmly believe that anybody can do the kind of things I do. And you don't have to always be quite so... we're not all got like skill level Japan. I've nowhere near got skill. I've not even got skill level Birmingham or skill level flipping, I don't know. I can't think of a place now that I can say without insulting someone. I've not even got skill level me, so I try and find shortcuts and ways around that. My level of painting, you won't be winning golden demons. That's people like Simon. Simon Reynolds, who's I don't think he can chat in a minute. Simon Reynolds paints at that level. George Gabriel, who I'm doing this as before, he's learning from Simon. He's getting to that level. Kenneth in Australia, who comes and chat every now and then, he's that level. He's just gone way past wherever I was. I'm a quick and dirty way of painting. I like to get things painted that look cool, and I'll get you started. I'm not saying that you'll win awards. I'm saying I'll get you going. I'll demystify things so that you can then find your own way. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's that coat. Next coat. I'm just here for the chat. Who's the guy behind the camera? There is. Is there someone behind the camera? Or are you just imagining it? Who can say? Who can say? Right, so next coat of the Evil Sun Scarlet. And what we're going to do here is we're going to see if we can do a slightly smaller area. Again, it's a little bit thin, so it's still a bit transparent, but we're going to go for a slightly smaller area than we painted last time. It's not quite glazing. It's almost glazing, but not quite, because the paint isn't quite that thin. If you want to build up a gradient from, say, dark to light, you would do a glaze, which is where it's mostly water and a little bit of paint, and it's mostly, and as a result, it's kind of transparent. Or you could use a glaze medium. I've gone a bit over the edge there, but I can tidy that up later. And it's all about using transparent colours to build up the shading. Now, it's not quite glazing I'm doing here because it's not quite transparent enough, but it's close. Yeah, so I've got a little bit of red paint splobbed on there, but that's fine because I can fill that in with a bit of the Agrax shade and darken it down again. Or if I want to, I can just repaint it yellow, or I could put a big fat paint chip there. We'll figure that out. So again, we're going to go with another coat. But yeah, there's a million different ways you can paint things, and if you are just starting out, it is strongly recommended you just watch as much as possible. Don't assume that if you watch someone do something a particular way, don't assume that that is the only way or the correct way or the incorrect way. There's no such thing as, well, there's people that will tell you the opposite of this, but in my belief, there's no such thing as right and wrong. There's no right way to paint something. There's no wrong way to paint something. Well, I mean, technically there's the wrong way to paint something. If you try and paint a Warhammer figure with your elbow, that's the wrong way to paint it. But what I mean is, there's 1,000 different ways to apply paint to a plastic model. And all of them are pretty much equally valid. Now, airbrush, brush painting, doing lots of glazes, doing dry brushing. They're all equally valid ways. They all have different results. And it's not a case of what's right and what's wrong, or what you think you should be doing. What you want to do is you want to find the way that you paint that gives you the most fun and gives you good results. There's no point trying to I've seen people who spend a long time trying to learn to paint a specific way, and they struggle and they struggle and they hate it because they're not getting the best results that they want. And I say to them, well, maybe that particular method of painting just isn't for you, because we've all got our weaknesses. We've all got things that we're not very good at. I'm no good at doing nice clean paint jobs without weathering, because that's why I don't do them, because I suck at them. So I don't try and do them because I know I can't do that. I'm just going to be like, if you pardon the expression, taking a leak into the oncoming wind, he says politely. So I know not to bother, because I wouldn't enjoy it, I'd be stressing out, and it wouldn't be fun for me. I've got a hair sticking out the end of my brush there. I must deal with that now. So it's really just about watching lots of people, study what they do, look at their methods, and then try their methods. While you're just starting out, copy everything you can find. There's no harm. This is just a hobby, it's just for fun. There's no harm in copying someone's technique, or even just copying a build they've done just to try it out for yourself. That's the whole point of channels like the stuff I do and channels like Warhammer TV. It's all about showing you how to do something so you can copy what they do. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You're just doing stuff for fun. You're either doing it for fun, you might want to make some money selling your models. There's a million different reasons why you're doing this, and that's all that matters. So there's no harm while you're starting out. Just copy other people. You'll see 10 different people paint 10 different things 10 different ways, and you'll be like, well, I tried this method, that didn't work. I tried this method, it was all right, but then I tried this method and it actually looked really cool. I was really happy and it was good fun. So that's the method you want to try and develop. Just try everything. You'll find ways that you enjoy, and you'll find ways that you find are too stressful. It's up to you. There is no right and wrong. The right way to paint is the way that gives you the most fun and allows you to be proud of what you've achieved. That's all that matters. It's like, if I know I can't paint clean shiny kits. So if I did a load of clean shiny kits, what would I do with them? I wouldn't want to put them in my cabinet. I wouldn't want to show them to anybody. They'd be ass. There'd be no point. So I don't do it. There's no point. I'm not gonna. There's always a case to work on your weak areas and develop them. Of course there is. You don't get better at something unless you fight through it. But there comes a certain point when you fight through a lack of skill at a certain activity, and you think to yourself, I've been doing this for a while now and I'm not getting any better. It's still hard. I still don't enjoy it. It's still a nightmare. Let's try something else. And it's as simple as that. You make that decision. You make the decision as to what is the best way you want to paint. And that decision will always be correct. Because that's all that it counts. That's all that matters. That it gives you fun, and that you come up with results that you're happy with and that you're proud of. And that's it. A lot of people take this whole thing far too seriously, I think. There's a lot of people take this hobby far too seriously. And if you're a professional trying to make money doing this, then yes, you should take it seriously. There's no harm in taking it seriously and, entering competitions and trying to make a living selling your builds or doing commissions. There's no harm in it, but you have to remember that for a lot of people, it's just a bit of fun. It's just, fun painting. It's like people that do actual, proper painting, oil on canvas and stuff. There's people that are professional painters that make a living doing it. And then there's people that just sit in the living room and paint pretty pictures of sunsets and flowers and Cotswold cottages and all that kind of nonsense because they enjoy it. It just gives them a peaceful time to contemplate, and that's all it's about. That's all it's about. Having fun. And if you ever meet someone that says to you, the correct way to do this, you can instantly know then that you can ignore everything else they ever tell you about anything. Because they're a rivet counter. And we don't care. I mean, there are situations where there are actually correct and incorrect ways to do things. But that's only where a method actually works and the other method just totally doesn't work. Like, the correct way to inject for a diabetic to inject insulin is to use a syringe. The incorrect way for a diabetic to inject insulin is to apply it to a butter knife and then slap themselves in the face with a butter knife till they bleed. That's obviously not going to put insulin in their system. That's an incorrect way of doing it. It's kind of a stupid example, but you know what I mean. There are lots of things where there's a correct and incorrect way of doing it. But where there's multiple ways of doing something, there's no right and wrong. There's just the way that works best for you. That's what I'm trying to say in a kind of cack-handed, clumsy way. If that makes sense. This gun is looking a bit ropey. Can't say I'm brimming with positivity and happiness about it. But I know there's stuff to come. There's chipping to do, and there's going to be other things. Les autres. Other things. So we'll see. Well, and I say, if it all goes really wonky, and I'm not happy with the paint job at all, I can slap an ink, a comic book style ink outline on it, and that might make it look all more awesome. We shall see. But like I said at the start, and like I've just been saying now, I'm not that good or experienced in the Games Workshop style of painting. So I tend to hodgepodge and kind of mix it with my own style and their style, and it's kind of a weird hodgepodge. There we go. Little bit of red on there like that. That is lovely, lovely. A little bit there. What now we have is a little bit under the arm here. One thing I found is if you're doing this kind of layering, if you want to do a kind of fade, I was trying to explain it earlier on but wasn't doing very well, is to use the brush like that, like a curve. You're painting a straight line, but you're curving the brush like this. I won't do it like I'll do it there. You'll do like thin, thick, thin. Or thick, thin. You'll pull the brush away like that. The reason you do that is because as you pull the brush away, the line you're painting gets thinner and you deposit less paint. And if you're using like slightly thinned paint like I am now, that can help do a sort of very, not super subtle, but a subtle blend. You do get a nice sort of delicate blend between two colours. You're not just getting light red, dark red. You're getting a kind of fade, and it can help do a very slight fade effect. It's a bit ropey, but if you're not quite au fait with doing actual glazes like me, I'm not good at glazes at all, then yeah, it can work out quite nicely. There's too much water's on that bit. Too much moistness. I'll come back to that in a minute. Conscious aware that this thing keeps moving as well, so I don't know where I am in shot. Where are we? There we are. Do it here, Fox, where people can see with their eyes. There you go. Good lad. But golden rule number one, as Dad said, thin your paints. Don't ever, with acrylic paints, with only a very few exceptions, don't ever just take paint straight from the pot, because you just get nonsense then. It's horrible. You get lumps and bumps. Duncan on Warhammer TV, his mantra is 2 thin coats. Now, it can be sometimes more than 2 coats. It can be sometimes 3 or 4. But you always want to thin your paints a little bit. Because if you add a thin coat, say a thin coat of red, and it's not quite giving you the coverage, it's a bit streaky and patchy, it's great. Let it dry for a minute, go and do a second coat. If it's still not right, do a third coat. But if you do a thick coat of red straight from the pot and it's suddenly, and you think, oh, it's too lumpy, that, you're knackered. You can't take paint away again. So get used to applying slightly thin coats. We're not talking like water here. In most cases, if you make yourself a wet palette, there is a video on my channel. If you go, when you finish watching this, if you go to my channel homepage and the playlists thing at the top, click on playlists and go to how to. There is a guide to how to make a wet palette and why you want to. A wet palette will be your friend with water-based acrylics. There are some acrylic paints, you know, that you can take straight from the pot. The Vallejo metal colour paints, they are very, 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 very thin. And you don't need to thin them at all. In fact, you don't even want to put them on a wet palette because they're so thin, if you put it on a wet palette, they'll just turn into water. So they're an example of a paint that's already thin enough, you don't need to thin it. Often metallic paints, even thick ones, you sometimes don't want to thin on a wet palette because you'll affect how the little metal flakes behave. I've never really had a problem with that, but you might want to keep an eye on that. How are we doing? Any more? I'll do another quick go on the pauldrons while I've got this in my hand. So there are some, but generally you always want to use a wet palette. Because then for most paints, a wet palette actually applies enough moisture to the paint that you don't need to then thin it anymore. I've added a bit more water in my brush when I'm getting the paint off the palette here because I'm using it ever so slightly thinner than normal, sort of glaze but not quite a glaze. And what I'm doing now is with subsequent layers, I'm just building up the red in the centre of the pauldrons. I've gone a little bit thinner than the first 2 coats, so it might take a few coats, but just a thin layer of the red, a little bit thinner. Again, in a smaller and smaller area, just in the middle of the pauldrons. I'm going in kind of a circular shape, but it's fine, doesn't really matter. You're not going to get a solid edge. So we'll let that dry for a minute. There is the head. There. Doodle-doo-doo, doodle-doo-doo. Doodle-doo-doo. So yeah, ask any questions the way you want, dude. Who was it I was talking to? Was it Danny? I can't remember now. I've been going on for so long. Ask any questions you want. I say, you're more than welcome to ask any questions here, although it'll most likely be the guys in chat and girls in chat that will help you out because I'll be busy doing this. But do join the Model Makers Boom Hut. Almost 4,000 people in there now. We don't allow bitching, snark, we don't allow backhanded comments and all that kind of stuff. It's designed to be a friendly place for people of all skill levels to share their work, have a good time, be a bit silly, and also learn some tricks of the trade from each other. So feel free. Open to everybody in the world. A diddly bomb, a diddly bomb, a diddly bomb. A super match game. Quick look at the chat while that dries. And I have a swig of the coffees. The coffee. Nom, 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 nom. Coffee, coffee, coffee. Nearly fell off the coffee mat. Let's have a look. Do. Oh, there's a lot of chat going on there. People are lurking. Just about to get the tablet logged in so I can watch while I paint some raptors, says Danny Sharples. Cool. Yeah, but I say most people actually watch, they just have it listening to it in the background. Raging Bass is switching to his Mac instead of his phone. Wow, I don't know how anybody watches anything on a phone screen that big when you've got like an iPad or a computer. Fox, you waffle too much, says Rhodey. I know, it's what I do. If I didn't waffle so much, I've said this before, I've sat and watched people, because most people don't watch, they just listen. If I just sat here like this for 3 hours, are you bored yet? See? just painting silently. I've watched people's Twitch and YouTube streams, and it's like they don't talk to the people in chat. They don't speak. They just sit there and work. And it's like, why would I watch this stream? I'm not going to sit watching a stream for 3 hours if I can't talk to the person, or they're not talking to me, or they're not even talking to chat. It's like, oh, I've got the sniffles. Django is going for a wee. Be right back. I'm assuming it's a wee. Going for a Nature's Calling. All I have left to do, says Paul, is the real grade nude Gundam, is the funnels. After that, I can put on a flat clear coat and call it done. Yes. Question, says Raging Basis. Clockwork, would it be more accurate to be brass or bronze? Now, Chris is your man for that, because Chris actually makes and repairs and fixes clocks and watches. But I would say brass. Paints wise, maybe, or a bit of both. I think if you vary it, it'll look. If you've got, let's say you're building something steampunk, I assume it's got like clockwork mechanics in it. If you do it all brass or all bronze, it'll look nice. But how about if you vary it? It's different tones and different colours then. See? Because don't forget, some clockwork stuff, there's copper as well, and there's other things. Paul D. Tommaso said, question, have you guys seen the Bandai Warhammer Space Marine figure that will be coming out? Yes. I talked about this when it first came out. I got really excited until I realised it's one of their Tamashii Nations just action figures. It's not a model kit, it's just an action figure. And while it is awesome, it's probably about this big, I guess. It's probably quite big. I can't remember the exact size of it. While it looks fantastic and it'll be really nice and brilliant quality because it's Bandai, it holds no interest for me at all because I can't build it. It's just an action figure. I mean, I could repaint it. I could certainly repaint it, but I'm going to guess. I think the price is around about 80 to 90 quid. No. For 80 quid, I can buy... for 80 quid, I can buy a perfect grade Zaku or perfect grade RX-78-2. And that'll give me a lot more fun than an action figure that I can maybe just paint. If it was a kit, I'd be all over it because I can build it. But an action figure, no, not really. It doesn't really hold the interest for me. I really hope they do some actual buildable stuff there. And now they've got this working with Bandai thing. I hope they do some constructible stuff because that'd be fantastic. But who knows? Candy say, I can honestly say that I won 2 awards a couple of weeks ago at a regional model show. Thanks Fox, Chris and Ted for the instruction and Dad for the amazing device. Yes, Dad's device. Yeah. You're more than welcome, dude. That's why we do it. Just so you can learn. And like I say, I've never professed to be an expert. I just show you quick. My whole thing is showing you down and dirty, quick, lazy ways to do it. You've got like the lazy gamer. I've got like I'm the lazy model maker. I show you how you could spend 6 weeks painting something, or you could do it in 2 days, and it'll look awesome. Because my idea is that you'll learn the basics from me, and then you'll go off and you'll figure out the complicated stuff yourself. Because by then you'll have been energized and you'll have the confidence. I'm aiming more at people that don't even know which end of the brush to put in the paint. Paul at Team Inept says, I'm obviously the king of using my cutting mat as a palette for painting. Yes, that's an example of where where somebody is completely wrong. You know, like I was saying, there's no real right and wrong apart from very occasional situations like, applying insulin with a knife, a butter knife. Using your cutting mat as a palette, that is wrong in every sense. It's just pure heresy. And Paul should be the same. Paul, you need to go and sit on a step and think about what you've done. I'm only joking. Let's have a look. Raging Basis says, I'm not good at painting most painting things. If I can't light via... I'll start again. I'm not good at painting... Oh, God, I still got it wrong. Spoon, I am not good at most painting things. If I can't highlight via dry brushing, I will struggle. Yeah, there's some things you're good at, some things you find a challenge. I would always say, try the other methods and try them for a certain amount of time, but at some point you will come across a situation where you think, I'm not going to learn this or get any better at it. I'll just put it to one side and try something else. I'm going to jump forward a little bit. Got the sound coming through the car radio except for the frequent interruptions from the sat-nav. Please do a U-turn on the motorway. Cool. In 4 meters, take the left that you forgot to take. Too late, you've gone too far. Cashier number 4, please. I love that. But wait, I disagree. The correct way to tell someone the correct way to do something is, says Spid. Hey, Spid. Don't know, you're talking about pens and UV paint. So what Houston Fox say is always the truth, says Eric to me and Chris. No, I would never lie to you, but I may not necessarily have the... whenever I tell you something, it's not necessarily the only way to do something or the best way to do something. It's just the way I do it. Roadie Hobby is off. He's going to go and make some food. Thanks for coming in, buddy. Maybe see you later. Osric says, my mojo has deserted me. Going to have to put all modelling stuff away for a while and watch YouTube videos. If your creative mojo goes, you're doing the right thing by just going and do something else. Never try and force it. I know if I lose the urge to do anything and I force myself to do it, I'll just make a complete hash of it, and then I'll get grumpy because I've made a hash of it, and halfway through I'll be disillusioned about it. It happens to me. For various reasons that I won't go into. Happens to me, I lose the mojo all the time, and I find I'll just go off and play video games for a day, maybe a couple of days. By the end of the day or the 2 days, I'll be sitting there playing the game thinking, oh, I just want to paint that one bit, and if I do that, and it'll just come back by itself. The worst thing you can do is try and push through a lack of mojo. Just forget it. Just walk away and do something else. Watching YouTube, playing games, even just like, okay, you're losing your god model making mojo. Go and build some Lego. If you've got a Lego kit, you've built before, take it all apart, rebuild it. It's just something creative to keep your brain working. Doesn't matter as long as it's something. Danny Sharper says, I've been in the Boom Hut since it was a few hundred members. Oh, cool. I thought I recognised the name. Ian's car says, what? I wonder why it was silent then. I thought the net went down. Wayne Hayward says, Space Marine 6-inch kit would be cool. It would. Raging Basis says, look at the Citadel app. I'm thinking polished brass for the clockwork parts and then maybe bronze or copper for plating on the flat surface. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if it's for the clockwork parts, I mean, for the plating, copper would be really nice. Copper shades, because it's like the copper bottom boat. So the copper's a good... I don't know what you're making, but it sounds fantastic. I'm going to guess either it's Carahadron stuff or some of that Industria Mechanica stuff, perhaps. It could be something else completely, but I'm going to try and be clever and make a guess. Either Carahadron... Hadron Games Workshop stuff or Industria Mechanica. Paul Di Tommaso says he's not yet received Dad's device. Dad, has he been sent a Dad device? Django says, I'm getting slowly interested in building that Revell helicopter kit I got a while ago. I just need to see if I can paint. Yep. That's why you have 5 different hobbies, says Eric Graham. Yes, it's true. If you've got one hobby, you're fine. But if you get bored of that, you need something else just to distract you. And that's why I love video games, because I can sit down and not think. And it gives me something to think about. Raging Bassist says, I am back with snacks. And Chris says, yeah, you know the rules, Bassist. What snacks? I'm going to buy a Clockwork Dragon from Goblin tomorrow when I'm in store. Cool. Yes, Dad sent it out a while ago. It's been lost in the post. No! Oh, nothing worse. We're still waiting for Bassist to explain what snacks. You know the rules, Raging Bassist, or maybe you don't. You can't just mention a food type without explaining all the details. All the grubby little details, to quote ELA. My favourite collection, says Candygram for Mongo, is my collection of hobbies. Here goes. Raging Basis says, ready salted crisps and chocolate orange cake. You're almost right there, apart from the ready salted crisp bit, because they're not cheese and onion. But we'll let you off this once. But have a think about what you've done. Come back to us next time with the cheese and onion. Right, so I'm going to do one more last little coat of this colour, because it's boring me now. I've done enough of this Evil Sun Scarlet. I'm going to do one more little last coat on the Pauldroniums. Like this, was it? In the middle kind of shape. Nothing massive. Just a kind of bit there. Again, a little smaller than I did last time. Just to give it a bit of a highlighty area. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll expand it out a bit. I don't know. I'm winging it now. There we go. It'll just give a little sort of highlighted area, hopefully, and blend it away a little bit. However, it should be noted I've got stuff to paint on these pauldrons anyway, so it's not the end of the world if if it's got a bit of an edge to it. And a little bit on this gun casing again, because it's still a bit... I'm not completely happy with it. But I'm not good at painting just flat surfaces like this. On curved and compound surfaces, you can finagle your way around with the help of the surface itself. But on this kind of stuff, it's not that easy. So we'll have to do a fair bit of chipping on this bolter, I think. As a CYA colour. If you watch my stuff, you'll know. You won't know what CYA colours are because I've never explained it, but you'll understand. A CYA colour is basically a cover your ass colour. As in, if something's not quite gone right, CYA. Either cover it with chipping, weathering, with more painting that hides things. Just paint your way around it. Most things can be fixed by painting your way around it. For example, perfect example of a CYA, I've just got some red paint in the yellow bit there, arse. A perfect example of a CYA colour scheme is when I painted my, no paint on the brush, when I painted my Bandit Technical, which was my Atalan Ridge Runner, Achilles Ridge Runner. I painted the little dome that goes over the driver's cockpit with the contrast paints. And it looked absolute bish. It looked like an abortion. It was horrible. It was patchy because they're not designed for flat things. It looked absolute garbage. So what I did was I did a CYA. I basically painted black and white checkers all over it. And it ended up looking fantastic without blowing my own trumpet. Ended up looking great and a million times better than it would have done if I just tried to make a metallic effect. So that was a CYA. Cover your ass. If you mess it up, paint over it with something else. Nobody will ever know. Shh, don't tell anyone. And no one was ever the wiser. Okay, so there we go. That's about as much I want to do on there. Doobie-doobie-doobie-doob-doo. Oh, I keep forgetting this little skull on his Aquila. Now, on an Angry Marine, the skull should actually be the red, shouty, angry face. But I wasn't going to actually modify this kit at all. I wasn't going to rebuild any of it. Oh, itchy nose. I wasn't going to sit there and resculpt anything, or because it's vinyl. It's not that easy to hack parts off and sculpt, so that wasn't really an option. Was not really an option for me. So he just has a red skull instead. It's a very nice red skull. It's a lovely red skull. It's a lovely little fella. You may swear a bit, but he's a lovely fella. You get to know him. Oh, itchy nose. Again. I'll do a little, go on then, we'll do a little touch on the rest of the red armour parts. Fine, fine. Just a little bit on the edges that will catch the light, the upper edges, just to give a little bit of a bling. Again, because they're slightly thinned, a little more than normal, it's more like a thick glaze than an actual paint coat. Trying to think what else to talk about. I'm kind of out of ideas at the moment because I haven't been doing much this week. I've been working on the Cesar Baby. I didn't do a live stream later on this week, or earlier on this week, because I've run out of things to stream for the moment. I've got a little bit left of the dry brushing on the red armour to do on that Cesabe, but not enough that would, only enough that would fill like 20 minutes of a live stream. And the next bit after that is some fiddly stuff that I really don't want to be in the middle of streaming. So, what have I got to do? I've got to do some of the chippingy bits, and I need to kind of think about that when I'm doing it. So I think, or is it decal? I can't remember now. I think it's chipping next. So I'm not going to stream that. So there will be another one, because at some point I'll have to do lots of decals. And once I've figured out the chipping, I might stream that. So there will be lots more of the Cesabe live streams. It's just, but it's when it's stuff I can do that I can turn my brain off while I'm doing it. Decals, pre-assembling stuff, and de-spruing. Oh, itchy nose, it's doing my beaning. That kind of stuff. Right, I need to scratch my nose. Oh. Again, downside of a moustache, sometimes the little moustache hairs under your nose point upwards for just giggles, and they irritate your nose, and it does my head in. Oh! Stop itching. Got to do these 2 bits here. Where are we? That bit there. So you can see how with these bits I'm doing almost like big fat lines. I think I might go for a slightly comic book style. I might do some ink outlines on this guy because I'm getting that vibe as I'm going along. And that's one of the ways I work, is I kind of have an idea in my mind, but I know that deep down in my brain I'll probably end up veering away from that and changing the style completely. But that's fine. It's all about happy accidents. I might not though, I don't know, we'll see. I don't know. There's a lot of really sort of soft, squashy edges on this that don't really benefit from trying to do an ink outline, so we shall see. We shall see. I kind of turned into James Mason then. Lewis is off, got to go now, wife needs me to drive. Thanks for coming in, Lewis. I probably missed you anyway, but thank you. So that's there. So what we can do now is get ourselves some squig orange. Where's Kevin when you need him? Some squig orange. Oh. And what we can do is, not a lot of this, we don't need a lot of this, but we'll put a fair top down. There we go. This might actually be too much of a pastel-y colour, I don't know. We can put a glaze over this later to make it boldy red. But I just want a light. I don't know actually. Do we want that or do we want a pink? Or do we want Evil Sun Scarlet? Diddly diddly diddly, and a little bit of yellow. Let's get some Evil Sun Scarlet. Shaking, shaking, shaking. There we go. You have to make the squishy noises and also get paint on your... Oh, god damn it! I hate this pot of paint with a vengeance. With a pointy vengeance, I hate it. Right, so we'll take some of that, and what we'll do is we'll take a small amount of Uriel yellow. If you want to lighten a red colour, you've got 2 options. Well, you've got many options, but the 2 most mainstream options are with white or with yellow. If you thin it with white, you go towards the pastel shades. If you add white to it, you go towards pastel or pink. If you add yellow, you lighten it, but it still maintains its bright redness. So you don't push it towards the pastel end of the spectrum. Now there is a point at which you put too much yellow in. My foot just, ow! Stabbing pain in one of my toes. Ow! Stop now. Some sort of little creature in my rug biting my feet, I think. Yeah, you go to the point at which if you put too much in, it just becomes orange, obviously. But it is a good way to lighten a red without turning it pink. And it just gives you a subtle change. So this might be, it's kind of similar to that, to the squig orange, but it's still got some of the fiery redness to it. It's not gone too pink. It's kind of going towards the salmon, but it's still got some orangey. I mean, you might not see on camera because you're seeing it through a webcam and a streaming thing, so it's not going to be exactly the right colour anyway. So what we'll do, we'll risk it for a biscuit, and we'll see what happens when we take some of this, take a little bit of the waters, make it into a bit of a glaze, and see what happens. Let's try it on something small first, like the feet, because we can cover these up with dirt and dust anyway. So let's try on here. It's a bit too thin, too much of a glaze. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling it a bit, actually. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll. You know when you can't. This is the downside of red. You see, be difficult to paint with, but you can go too far and it looks really weird. And I'm always a bit wary of reds because it's easy to go the wrong way and turn it into an 80s pastel nightmare. Yeah, it is possible to do that. I'm consciously aware that I've got pink chipping to do on here as well, so I might just pull some of that back. I added some water to the brush then and just blended it away a bit. So we've got a bit of a light patch, but not much. Just a little bit there. A little bit there. And I've just realised all this time I've not actually been doing anything with this belt buckle, which is red. Oh well. You can't really see it anyway. It's not the end of the world. Got that there. Got this little bit here. So I'm just doing a touch of it here at the edge of the panel. And remember I was saying about flicking the brush so you get that kind of fade? That's what I'm doing here. Just to get a bit of a fade. It's not the most subtle of fades, but it's a fade. And it's what you get. You get what you're given. So what I can do here is do the same on here. And it may all come together a bit when I do chipping and stuff as well. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It just means adding yellow just means you can get a bit of a highlight without making it just pink. A bit. Now I know the actual red for the Angry Marines is brighter than this. It's a bright red. But I'm giving them a kind of slight used battle-worn look. And like I've said before, it's like the guy near me that's got the very old Escort, soft top Escort with the faded paint job, the Ford Special pink faded paint job. It's like a bit of that. It's you know, it may have been bright red once, but now he's been out in the sun for a while. He's been on various planets. It's worn. It's faded a bit. Might have been a Friday afternoon. Space Marine armor suit. You never know. So we'll do a little bit of careful. Oh, every time I burp, now I've got the burps and it's spaghetti bolognese, but that weird bolognese I told you about earlier on. It certainly was weird, I'll give you that. So a bit there. I know my hand's probably in the way for you right now. Apologies. I've got some of the little details to paint on this gun, so it's not the end of the world if it looks a bit patchy right now. Okay. At least it ain't the mushrooms again, says Mordraka. Yeah. Deep down in Fox's brain must be a crazy place. Yes. You don't want to think about what's deep down in my brain. There's reasons that the human brain can't normally comprehend such things. Even I don't understand how my brain actually works, so I wouldn't expect anybody else to be able to even begin to comprehend such matters. So I've got a blob of it there. It's quite thin, so what I'm going to do now is I took the paint off the brush and I'm just spreading it out a bit in the hope that I can blend it. Now what I'm doing is I'm using the brush to move in towards the centre of the circle, because what you'll find is when you're using a glaze, wherever the brush ends, that's where most of the pigment goes. If you do a brush stroke like that and then lift it off, all that paint, there's a blob of paint here and less at this end. So always try and move the brush from the fade to the not fade, if that makes sense. If that makes any sense at all. You can tell I've been playing Borderlands over the last couple of days a little bit, because every time I think of something in my head, I think of it in Marcus's voice. I don't know why. When you need guns, think Marcus munitions. I do like Marcus in Borderlands. He's a great character. He's a really good character. I've not played a lot of Borderlands, so I've not had a chance really. I've had a little bit of time to play some of it. Right, there we go. So that worked out quite well, this colour, as a glaze. I was worried about it on the shoulder pads, but it came out alright. Didn't do bad. Didn't he do well? I thought it might be a bit obvious and a bit stark, but it's actually worked out quite nicely. Quite nicely. It has changed the colour quite drastically, but that's fine. We don't mind. Makes it more interesting, doesn't it? There you go, a little bit around there, just a little tiny touch. Now, it's looking a bit patchy on that gun. I'm not exactly, as I say, 100% happy on that gun, but we've got stuff to do on that, so we can probably rescue that bolter a bit. Danny Sharple says, what's your opinion on the contrast paints? I love them, but for a very specific reason, and I'll show you that in a second. I've only used them for one thing so far, and at that one thing they were fantastic, and I'll show you. And it's something that most people would never have to do. So it's a very limited use case that I found them perfect for. But you see how I'm brushing the brush up like that towards there, because that's where the paint's going to collect. It's a thin glaze at the minute. So I brush it up from the bottom, and most of that paint will go towards the top, because it's thin. And that way I can have a bit more at the top. I've just got some slightly thicker paint there. I'm not brushing it up, so there we go. There we go. So if you've got thinned paint, you can do it that way. It's where you lift the brush off, that's where the paint collects. If you've got slightly thicker paint that's not quite a glaze, then that's where you want to do that movement to get that kind of angled effect. They're all things that you learn slowly as you learn to brush paint. You'll find your own ways of doing things, and you'll learn all these things by yourself. I said there's no right and wrong, it's just different ways of doing it. Well, that's actually moving down there, so I need to move that back up again. I'll get the hairdryer on that because it needs to dry fast, that one. So 1 second. Dry, Daniel, dry! Right, there we go, that'll do. It's not fully dry, but it'll just stop the water, the thin glaze running. So there we go. It's kind of taken it has taken it slightly pinky. It's a slight hint of pink from bright red, but it's like an orangey pink. So one last thing we can do now is take, first of all, some where's it gone? Full Grim Pink. Me. Hang on. Yes, I shall do the contrast thing in a minute. Full Grim Pink. Not a lot, you understand, just a little bit now. Now this is going to look stark as when I first do this, and you can be like, what the, oh, what have you done? No. I need a slightly smaller brush, so I shall have my artifice layer, which is slightly smaller. We're going to get a touch of the water. Thin it down a little bit. Now we are going to put chipping on these, so I'm not going to worry about this too much, but especially on the gun here. What I want to do, and on the armour here. In fact, do I want to do this or do I want to... No, I'm not going to do this actually. Forget me. I was going to do some edge highlighting, but if I'm going to do chipping, I can kill that bird with that stone at the same time. I don't need to do edge highlighting right now, because the actual chipping will do a lot of that for me. So we put that there. One thing I will do is take some Bloodletter, which is a red glaze. Now for this, we need a dad's device. And once I've done this, we'll talk about contrast paints. Bloodletter is a glaze. It's just a pre-made glaze. Glazes are basically transparent paints. Like I was making my own glaze there by just thinning the paint down really thinly. The purpose of these glazes, and the reason I'm going to do a glaze now, you remember how I said it's gone a bit pink and faded and dull? This is where we can bring it back, the same way I did on the yellow. I'm going to take myself a slightly bigger brush. Well, this brush will be alright. Take myself some of the glaze straight from the pot. This is one of the situations where you can use it straight from the pot. And what I'm going to do is quite simply cover the whole red area with the Bloodletter glaze. I'm going to go into that recess down there because it's transparent. It's not going to cover up the shade in the recess. And I'm going to go over the whole thing. Now the beauty of these glazes is they are transparent, but they behave the same as the normal paints, but they do dry in a nice even coat. They don't go streaky or patchy. So you can just carelessly and generously get them on over the bit you want. So on the yellow, we did some Lamenter's yellow, which was the yellow glaze. We painted that over the yellow because the yellow was looking a bit pastel-y. So what we did was we painted Lamenter's yellow over that in a couple of coats, and it made the yellow go from a bit pastel-y, 1980s, to sudden bright yellow. It really made it pop. And this is what this is doing. It's doing two things. One, it's brightening the red up again, because it's a strong, bright red. But also, more importantly, it's blending the different colours of red that we've used together. And what I mean by that is, if I had, as I was about to do then, if I'd done an edge highlight with that pink would have been really, really obvious. It would have been like, wow, it's like red with a bright pink edge highlight. What the hell's that? It would look weird, but when we put the glaze over the top, it would have made the pink more red and made the red closer to the pink, and it would have just have tied everything together. And you can sometimes find when you do a glaze like this, if you've got high contrast colours, like a light green and a dark green, or whatever, it brings them together and makes them look closer because it unites them with the colour value of the glaze. So it can just make, when you've done, like, say you're doing clothing, let's say you've got some trousers, you're painting some trousers on a dude, and you paint them a dark brown colour, but you give them some light brown highlights for the tops of creases and folds, and they look a bit like black and white with a brown. They look a bit contrasty. It's very easy to fix. Just do a glaze like this of any colour, and it will tie them together and make them look a little less different. So this is going to do the same. It's going to make the reds brighter, but anywhere where we've gone from the custom made paint that I used to either the Dark Mephisto red or the Evil Suns, it will just bring those together and make it look a bit more cohesive and uniform. And it's a good way, again, just to make the red bolder, because it did pink out a little bit, just a little bit there. This will bring it all back together and make it more of a bright red. Now, the Lamenter's yellow is one of my favourite ones. It's a beautiful yellow glaze, but unfortunately they don't make it anymore because it's been replaced by some of the contrast paints. So there is a shame. You can't get Lamenter's yellow anymore. So if you find some, snag it and treasure it, because it's very nice. Yeah, so we'll just do this, then I'll show you the bit I was talking about contrast paints, and we'll have a look at chat and do some stickery giveaways, because it's 5 o'clock. Wow. Fump of the o'clock. Already. Time flies by when you're the driver of a train. Standing on the footplate there and back again. Some of you will get that reference. Some of you will not have a clue. You can paint different glazes over things, by the way. For example, You don't have to paint red glazes on red paint or blue glazes on blue paint or anything like that. You can paint a red glaze over a green paint, or you can paint blue over silver. They're just very transparent colours that behave very smoothly. They don't streak and do anything like that. So you can get a lot of good effects to them, especially if you paint a colour. Like if I did this red over the yellow, it would kind of change the tint of the yellow. So if you want to have, say, 2 panels, like on my big Cesabe, like I've got 2 red panels, and I want them to look a bit different. They're both the same red. I can cover one in a red glaze and one in a yellow glaze, and they'll look then a little bit different to each other. They'll have a different tonal value. So I don't know if you'll see on camera because it is a rubbish webcam, but compare now that pauldron that's got 1 coat of the bloodletter red glaze to that pauldron which has none. You might not see on camera, but it's just a bit bolder, a little tiny bit. So I'll put some glaze on there. I could go ahead and do 2, and I might do that on the pauldrons just to make them even bolder, but I've got stuff to paint on the pauldrons yet. I've got all the markings and things to paint, so that's going to be, I've got to paint a circle. That's going to be so much fun. No, it's not. It's going to be an challenge. Oh, I've gone a bit heavy there. I'm going to pull up a little bit, so I'm just going to suck some of that back out with the dry brush. There we go. So that just brightens the red back up again now. It's a bit closer to what it should look like. So I'll do the same on the bonce. So you might see here we've got like the reds and the pinks and the dark colour at the bottom. If I do this red glaze over the top, it should now, hopefully, make it all uniform. Now, unlike a glaze that I made with the paint with water, of course, the beauty of a glaze, pre-made glaze, is it's not thinned, it's diluted. If you want to make your own glaze, you can. It's very easy. You quite simply get some glaze medium, which from Games Workshop is Lamy Medium. It's just paint without colour. And you add a tiny bit of colour, and that makes your glaze. So these glazes, whereas I was thinning the red with some water off my wet palette and they were running and flowing like water, these glazes are just basically paint with a bit less pigment in them, so they're transparent. And because of that, they don't tend to move around or pool, unless like here where I've gone a bit over the top with them. They don't tend to move around or pool, so you can just slap them on and not think about them. Yeah, right, quick look at the chat. Time to grab the packet of Alan's Cola Frogs. Got the munchies again. I don't know what Alan's Cola Frogs are, but they sound fantastic. Let's have a look. People are talking about cake. Another one will be on this way this weekend, Paul. Tracked, or this week, says Dad. So Dad says, just got to wifey. What have I missed? Nothing. I've been painting, and that's it. There's no point in me telling you what I've missed, because he's just painting and waffling. Nothing of any importance from me, anyway. Let's have a look. Just curious, says Django, but what kind of dad devices exist? I have 2. I have this. I have 3, actually. I have this, which is the thing for shades and small pots that hold the lid open. I have this one, which holds the glues and the decal solutions and a couple of brushes. It needs a clean. It's a bit scruffy. And there is one I can't show you because it's under some other stuff, but it's like a plastic block with holes in. That's not a dad device because it's a proper made one. But Dad did make me a couple of plastic boxes with holes in to put brushes in. I just can't get to them because they're underneath many other things. Yeah, they're great. Dad likes making little things. But this is by far my favourite because it's perfect. It's basically an anti-spillage device for shades. Because now you can quite happily get your shade out and you're not going to knock it over. And I have had to repair it once, actually. It got so well used that this little peg came off. There. But I just super glued it back on. Brilliant. So it's easily repaired if necessary. It's got lots of signs of use now, but it's going to have a lot of use in its lifetime, that. Who here is going to Telford Model Show, says Danny Sharples. My first this year. I hope to, but most years, but just financially, it's a bad time of year for me, so I don't get a chance to go most years. Also, I don't like, and here's where it's honesty time. I'm not a good driver. I'm a very nervous driver, and I hate driving on the motorway. It makes me really uncomfortable. I can lose sleep the night before because I've got to go on a motorway journey, so it's another reason why I'm like, oh. So, but yeah, it's a bad time of year this year, part time of the year, so financially I'm usually a bit screwed at the minute. I've just had my MOT for a start, which doesn't help. Django says, the closest thing to needing a dad device will be my extra thin cement, since I paint mostly with Gundam markers if I paint at all. It's the beauty of Gunpla, you don't have to paint them. Let's have a look. I don't know why Eric says deep down in Fox's brain must be a crazy place. Is that something I said? I wasn't listening to myself. Right, anyway, contrast paints. Yes, I had a very specific use case for mine. Let's have a look if I can find them. For me, it was on the Sazabi, and it was things like it was specifically for the inner frame on the Sazabi I'm doing for George. Now, it's a very specific case for these here because I'm trying to recreate the Borderlands paint style, which most of you probably know anyway. If you go and look at Borderlands 1 and 2, there's no metallics in Borderlands 1 and 2. All the metallic things are just greys. So the contrast paints actually help reproduce that quite nicely. Now, they look a bit rubbish now. The reds and yellows on all paints, the greys, the contrast paints are on the metallic parts. So the dark grey there, this dark grey here, that's a regular paint. The light greys, they're all contrast. So it's, and on thrusters here, so it's just a light grey. It's the Grey Seer primer, and then a wash of either Space Wolves grey or Griff Charger grey, I think it was, on the metallic parts, which look a bit patchy right now. But once I've done an ink outline, because it's Borderlands style, it'll all come together. Now, I did that on my Ridge Runner. I'll just put these back again. I did that on the Ridge Runner, specifically because I wanted to test that effect out, and it worked really well. So that's a specific case where I found them to be absolutely spot on, because the Borderlands style is that kind of watercolour and ink style. I've said it a million times, kind of watercolour and ink style, and they reproduce that perfectly on models. So yeah, they are really, really cool. I also, when they first launched them, I had a quick go in the store, and I found that for things like organic shapes, like this little fella here, this little Poxwalker, I painted him in about 5 minutes. And it looks great. It's the fleshy bulbous greens and browns, because he's all rotten and horrible. Absolutely fine. So as a quick way to paint stuff, absolutely, it's just like painting with shades. Not so great on actual figures though. I did try painting a Space Marine, and it would take a lot of practice on the Space Marine to get a good paint job. I faked the metal bit, but it would take a lot of practice on there to get a good smooth paint job on the armour. But yeah, I mean, I think they're absolutely fine. To someone who's just starting out and maybe who has no interest in painting that much, or doesn't want to spend days painting each figure, or to very new builders or to very young builders, they're a nice simple way of getting painted figures on the table. And you might say, oh, people say, oh, you should paint them properly. If they're going to learn to paint, you should paint them properly. Who made that rule? Nobody. Who cares? If you want to paint them one way, paint them one way. If you want to paint them a different way, paint them a different way. It doesn't matter. They're just designed for either people who are brand new and they just want to get into starting into painting, but they can't, they can't quite paint a figure tabletop standard yet. But it's a quick way for them to get some painted stuff on the table and learn from there. Or even to modelers like us who know what we're doing with other paints, we can find uses for them. Like I found them perfect for, who would have thought they're perfect for reproducing Borderlands metallics? Yeah, see? So there's always a use case for everything. The people that say, yeah, proper painters don't need those, I would refute that, as I'm using them on a proper paint job. So, yeah. Somebody who just says, I can't see a use case for those because they're rubbish, that's not a problem with the paints, that's a problem with their lack of imagination. They're fine. I wouldn't, paint, they don't use on things like vehicles and big figures like this because they don't really work like that. Like I said, on the roof of that Ridge Runner, I painted the little roof cover grey and it was all patchy because that's what they do. So, but for figures and organic stuff, they are really good. And for things like, say, Borderlands. I like the contrast paints, bit of a learning curve. I still don't understand what's going on with them. They're not a wash or a shade. They're more like a glaze. It's more like an ink glaze. More kind of like an ink glaze. They're really, I mean, you can get some really good effects with them. But it depends on what you want to get. If you just want quickly painted things to get on the tabletop, then they're absolutely fine. If you want, you know, proper, really nice, beautifully painted miniatures, they're probably not going to get you there, but there are use cases for them, maybe. Let's have a look. Serious question, says Space Hamster. Does Games Workshop just hand pack their start collecting stuff and sometimes people are drunk? Because I just opened up a Bloodhound box and it's basically all Skull Crushers instead of Blood Warriors. Did you buy it from Games Workshop or from a third-party seller? There's a question. It could be a packing issue at their end. It could be something with the reseller. You never know. But if you contact them, if it's a Games Workshop product, if you got it from Games Workshop, if you contact them, they'll just send you a replacement. They won't even question it. They'll be like, yeah, we'll send you a replacement. They'll just do it. I hate people, so I avoid Telford, says Paul. The last game of 40k I had, says Mighty J. Welcome, Mighty J. The last game of 40k I had was in 2006. Now my orcs collect dust. Oh, what a time to come back now. There's so many great orc vehicles out there. I've got the Boomdecker. What have I got? I've got a Boomdecker Snazwagon that's assembled and needs to be primed and painted. I've got the Squig Buggy, the Rooker Truck Squig Buggy, which needs to be painted and primed and painted. I've also got the Scrapjet. Now, I've built the Scrapjet. I've built the Scrapjet and I built the Squig Buggy, Rooker Truck Squig Buggy. I've not yet built the Boomdecker Snazwagon. Is it a Boomdecker? I don't know. I can't remember now. I can't see it with these glasses on. It might be a Boomdecker Snazwagon. I can't remember. I've got 3. I might get them all and then just build them all up, paint them and sell them as a set. But yeah, orcs are getting good now. Right, so it's 5:15. Should we do some sticker giveaways? Because it's almost time for sticker giveaways. There's still tons to do on this, but we'll carry on next week. I might just go ahead and do lots of stuff on this. I don't know. We'll see. Because I need to get past this now and get back to my Warhammer Conquest stuff on a Sunday just to get everything built up. So there's still so much to do on this, like chipping and stuff. I might just go and do a load later on. And if we come back next week, I might still be working on this. I might not. Because I don't tend to get much done. It takes me weeks to get a project done. Right, so let's do some sticker giveaways. I'll just put little fella over here. I'll put his head back on. And we'll put him there so we can Overwatch. He can give us Overwatch. You can't see him now, can you? No, you know what I forgot? I forgot Guthorm as well. I forgot to put Guthorm on the... There's nowhere for him to go, though. There's no space for him. Although if I'm not painting now, I can put him there. There you go, Guthorm. I forgot to put Guthorm in the shot. Sorry, Guthorm. I'm a bad dad, what can I say? He's there somewhere. There you go. Where is he? There he is. He's hidden behind the chat now. I can't find him a good place where he can stand up. Oh, he'll do there. Beyond Hope says, afternoon, guys and gals. 1 week without Fox and I totally forgot the stream was on today. See, I go away for 1 week and it all just falls apart. You guys are rubbish. Right, so it's question times. So I'm not going to take my gloves off because my hands will go mingy and sticky. So we have 3 this week. We're going to do a Model Making Guru 1, or even a Model Making Guru sticker. We're going to do a Team Inept, because I've got some more Team Inept stickers. And notice how, of course, it's been cut nice and ineptly, so it's not quite square. But yeah, we've got a Team Inept sticker. And I've got a couple of Goblin Gaming stickers. I did ask the guys at Goblin Gaming to send me some more stickers to give away. And bless them, they sent me a couple of kits and 3 stickers. Oh, I'm not going to complain. Thank you very much. I do have to say about that. Thanks to the guys at Goblin Game for sending me those kits. I got an Eldar vehicle and a little tiny tank. I've shown them before, and they will get built up. So thank you to the guys at Goblin. But yeah, they only sent me 3 stickers, so I'll do 1 today. So if you are watching any of the guys from Goblin Gaming, send me more stickers so I can give more away. Just stickers. Just stickers are fine. Right, so I need the pen of writing. Where is the pen of happiness? This is here. We should come up with some words. The words with which we should come up, I'll take my visor off, are, let's have a look. What shall I come up with? I'll come up with some words. Let's have a look. My brain has just completely stopped now. Bumps. dangle, and for no reason at all, clip a card. I don't know why, I've just had clip a card in my head, but clip a card. So bumps, dangle, and clip a card. There you go. So we're going to ask some questions. And as always, whoever gets the answer right first in chat wins a sticker of their choice. Now, as always, at this point in the show, what we're doing with these words, it doesn't really matter. The words are irrelevant. It's just a fun little thing, but you can say which one a lot of people say which one they want based on, not the sticker, but the word on the back. Even though when you take the sticker off, I just write silly words. I don't even know why I do that. But yes, the first person that gets the answer right in chat will win a sticker. So, but at this point in time in the show, there's always a lag between the video and the chat. So before we do anything, before I do any of the sticker giveaways, what you need to do is hit the refresh button on your browser and then drag the slider across when it's refreshed. Drag the video slider across right to the right hand side so you're fully up to date and as close to possible as live. So do that. I'll let you do that for a second. So hit the refresh and drag your slider, refresh and drag. And I'll give you a second. But basically, I will ask a trivia question or a question of some sort, and whoever gets the answer right first in the chat window here will win a sticker of their choice. Now, just because you are first on the chat on your computer screen, keep this in mind, when you type an answer, it goes straight to the chat in your screen, but it's still got to get sent to YouTube. You're just seeing it at your end. You're not seeing the actual YouTube chat, which is this, and which is also the chat that will be there. If you come back and watch the stream later, that's the chat that I see. It's you. Just because you're first on your screen doesn't mean you are actually first in the actual chat. So don't be offended if I don't call your name, even though you're on your screen. You're the first one to get the answer right. Now, I am not going to be asking questions from the lovely, lovely questions about space book that Chris sent me, because I've used up all the answers that are anything but all the answers that have a single word answer, all the questions that have a single answer. They're all things like, how many people are in space? But it doesn't say there are 12. It says there are many people in space, sometimes this many, and it's like, yeah, I can't ask that. So there's no specific questions I can ask in that book now. So I've got to make up some questions in my tiny dinosaur brain. So let's have a think. Okay, so do. First question. Here we go. Everybody ready? Kind of need a wee. First question. Here we go. Osric 9000 says boomerang. That's just stuck from like 2 years ago on the e-model stream, hasn't it? Right. First question. I am making an Angry Marine, as you know. What is the Angry Marines catchphrase? Go. What is the well-known catchphrase for the Angry Marines? It was on that image I showed you earlier on. What's the catchphrase for the Angry Marines? Where is he? There he's there, isn't he? They created. That's an answer that would be correct, but it's not the one I'm looking for. Where has it gone? It just moved. Where are we? So the correct answer is, of course, chat's jumping. Always angry all the time, or always angry all the time. So that is the correct answer, and Jamie Bone was the first one to get that one right. So Jamie, well done, you've won yourself a sticker. Would you like bumps? Would you like Team Inept Dangle? Or would you like some Goblin Gaming Clipper card? Which would you prefer? Let me know. We'll all sit here quietly and look at you and stare at Jamie until he decides which one he wants. Eat my gun, says Osric. Goblin Gaming, says Jamie. Well done, nice one. So I shall put that there, Jamie Bone. If you win a sticker, as always, don't forget, my email address is always on screen. It's there. It's fox@modelmakingguru.com. All you need to do is send me an email with your name, your address, your YouTube ID, because if you're like Bob Smith, but your YouTube name is Blebulon, I'm going to have a sticker with Blebulon written on the back, and you send me, hi, I'm Bob Smith, I won this sticker. I'll be like, I haven't got a sticker for you, dude. So I need your name, your address, your YouTube name, if it's different, and also in the title, just put that you won a sticker. If you've won a sticker in previous weeks, don't panic. I tend to send them out once every, it seems like 6 months or so. I pile them up for a few months because I don't get to go to the post office very often. So if you've already got stickers in the queue waiting, don't panic. You still need to mail me again though, because if you've got like if I've got 5 emails from you, I know I owe you at least 5 stickers. So even if you're waiting for others, send me mail. So thank you, Jamie. That's yours. That's Jamie done. Next question. Let's have another question now. I've got to think now. I've got to think with my brain. I'm looking around the room for inspiration. Oh. Can't think of a question now. Thinking of a question. Thinking of a question, and my brain has gone to dinner. I swear, it's just buggered off. It's gone. Bye. Okay, stupid question because I can't think of anything. Stupid question. Name a woodland creature that likes nuts. Go. Name a woodland creature that likes nuts. I have a specific one in my mind. Wayne Haywood says squirrel straight off. Well done, Wayne. It's just because I looked out the window and I saw a squirrel, so I'm like squirrel. So Wayne Haywood, well done. It is indeed a squiggle. Would you like bumps or dangle? That's a model making guru or team inept. Space Ham says D's. Sasquatch says Paul at team inept. Right, who won that? I've just forgotten already. Yeah, Wayne Haywood. So Wayne, which one would you like? Would you like me or would you like team inept? Bumps, please. Which one's that? Bumps, there we go. So Wayne Haywood, well done. Wayne Haywood. So well done. Don't send yourself an email, idiot. Send me an email. God, I'm stupid. Send me an email, fox@modelmakingguru.com. The address is always there on screen. With your name, address, you don't need to put YouTube username because I assume your name is Wayne Haywood. And put in the title that you want and sticker. Cool. And we've got one sticker left. Somebody asked a question though. Paul Di Tommaso says, in what year will we see the Wheel of Giveaways return? Well, yeah, not today. Sorry. For those that don't know, a long time ago I used to do the Wheel of Giveaways where I would I've got a big stash of stuff that people have sent me to give away, kits and all kinds, really nice kits, Gunpla and all kinds of stuff to give away. And I used to give something away each week and do the Wheel of Giveaways, and we'd give prizes away. The problem is, each month it was costing me between 20 to 50 quid for each prize to go out, because some of them are quite big, like big boxes, and they're going all over the world. So I could be spending a lot of money each month on shipping, and this is what I do for a living. I do this for a living, the streams and my videos and stuff. I don't work. I count on my patrons and my sponsors like eModels and Goblin Gaming to provide me with an income, which is brilliant, but sending out those things each month was really crippling me financially quite a bit, because it's not cheap, especially with everybody who attempts to win it tends to be in like Brazil or somewhere. It's like, oh, another one in Peru. Oh. So it can be anywhere from like 15 quid to one of them was £75 to send it out, and I'm footing the bill for that. So right at the minute it's just something I would love to get back to, but I can't afford to send the stuff out, so it's on hold for the moment. It will come back eventually. Hopefully a year from now I might have 50 more patrons and earn a lot more money through it, so then I can afford it, because that's what the patron money pays for. It pays for my bills and everything else, but then it also pays for things like for me to get stuff to build. It pays for prizes and giveaways. So yeah, but hopefully, if I get better at this, and if I get more patrons and stuff and my income goes up, then that's something I can go back to. Now, before anybody questions it, I do have a big box of all the things that people have sent me to give away. They will not be sold. They will not be, I won't make them. They won't be sold on. They will literally sit in a box until I go back to doing Wheel of Giveaways. Some people have asked, what about the kit I sent you? It will sit in that box for as long as it takes until Wheel of Giveaways comes back, or till some other occasion when I can give stuff away. I will not make them, I will not touch them, I will not give them away for any other reason, and I will not sell them. Absolutely, they'll just sit in there. They were gifted to me to give away, and I'm not gonna break that trust. So yeah, so it's unfortunately, just because the expense of it, it's something I really love doing, because giving stuff away is fantastic, but I can't spend 20, 30, 40, 50 quid each time sending out, because some of them are like master grade size boxes. I can't afford to send that out all the time. So yeah, unfortunately, at the moment, it will come back eventually. Right, where are we up to? Same year as we get episode 7 of The Falcon, says Beyond Hope. Nobody wants Team Inept's dangle, you old bastards, says Paul. I do, says Django. Been looking the Psycho Zakharova. This is a monster build, actually a bit intimidating. Yep, good luck with that, you'll have fun there. Giveaway wheel, but people pay postage, says Danny Sharples. No, because the problem is then, if I give away a prize and somebody wins it and they say, where are you? I'm in X country. Brilliant. That'll be 75 quid shipping. They'll say, oh, I'm not paying that. And then that's just wasted that whole thing. So that's just not... I wouldn't ask people. The whole point of a giveaway is you just win something. You don't have to pay shipping for it. I mean, the irony is in some cases they might get import charges, which is just as annoying. But yeah, the whole point was you'd win something. I don't want people paying the shipping for it. That's not how this works. Get people to come and collect, says Gross Models. You could do, but they're always in like South America somewhere. They're always... You've won this massive master grade kit. Where are you? I'm in Brazil. Fantastic. Awesome. It's not a problem. It's just like that'll be 60 quid shipping. Oh. So yeah, it does get quite expensive, especially when it's 30, 40 quid to post a box out, even for a small kit, because it's based on the size, not the weight. So, and that's something I couldn't. I was hoping to do it every couple of weeks, but it was still just too much to ask. If I was a working man, I had a full-time job, and I was doing this as well, I'd probably be fine. But because I do this as my living, and I don't earn that much, it's not at the moment something I can afford to do. Django says, question, does Fox have a real grade Australia Type F? No, but please don't send me... it sounds really says, but don't send me kits for me, because I've got a big enough stash that I've got nowhere to put any new kits. It sounds really weird to ask people not to send me freebies, because I love getting stuff from people free, but yeah, I've got nowhere to put stuff now. And I need to start. I've got a massive X-Wing project. I've got my big 1/18 scale X-Wing to find a place for all the bits. I've got my Warhammer Conquest filling up the front room. I've got a wardrobe full of Millennium Falcon, and I've got all my stash. I'm running out of space. So much as I love to receive things from people, don't send me anything until right now, because I haven't got space. I've still got a High New Gundam that Josh Rogers sent me like 2.5 years ago, and it's there sitting there. I've not even had a chance to get in near it. So yeah, I gratefully accept all donations, but if you're going to send me stuff, just send me something I can eat. Don't send me kits. It's a lot of money to spend on a kit that's going to come to me and then sit there for 2-3 years because I never get around to it. So maybe one day again when I've got more space. But again, thank you very much. But don't spend your money for things for me. I've got a big stash. I can take care of myself in that sense. Don't worry about me. Asking since I want one more or less. So you're saying if I got one so you can film, so you can watch me do it. I see where you're going there. I take all that back. Right, so we've got one more sticker to do. Send him storage crates, says more Dracket. Yeah, I've got them to find somewhere to put the storage crates. Catch 22. I'm stressing a bit about this X-Wing. I don't think I can fit this X-Wing on this desk. We might have to move some stuff around. Oh. Right, so we've got one left. It's the Team Inept dangle that nobody seems to want. It's also got some kind of strange, bizarre smear on the top here. That is not. I've not done that. These are the ones that Chris has sent me. So not only do you get the word dangle on the back, you get some kind of something that could be a fluid of some sort. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to say what that is. You probably can't see it on camera. It may be toxic. It may be organic. I don't know. But that's part of the mystery meat of it, isn't it? So, got one sticker left. So I shall do the usual. Pen, back of hand, on a glove this time. I'm going to put a number on the back of my hand. Let's have a think now. I'm going to look around my room and find the first number I see with the number I do. And there's no numbers in my room anywhere. Fan-goddamn-tastic. Nothing has a number on it. Nothing at all. There's no numbers in this room. Oh, there we go. Right, there's a number. I can't write on a rubber glove. It's actually really hard. Okay, there is a number on my hand. Gross Models has answered that already. Okay, the number on my hand is between 8 and 18. Go. Between 8 and 18. I wonder if that would happen. Despite thy creator's technique of just spamming all the numbers from one to the other, I'm afraid that Edward Leonard got to it before you did, because Edward Leonard said 17. Yes. See, it's not always guaranteed success going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It doesn't always work if you're not fast enough. Yes. So well done, Edward Leonard. You've won yourself Team Inept dangle with a bit of a mysterious mystery meat smear on it. Edward Leonard. So all you need to do is send me an email with your name and your address. If it's, I assume your name is Edward Leonard. If your name is different to that, then make sure you have got both that and your real name. And just put that you want to stick it in the title, and I'll put that to one side for you. Now, as I've said before, there are a few stickers in my pile of stickers I need to send out from people that won them ages ago, months and months ago, and I haven't yet had an email. So if you've won a sticker, well, actually, no, don't say that, because a lot of you have won stickers and not had them yet, because I've not sent them out yet. There are a few of you. I will have mailed you, I think. Deaths 0079, I think, is one of them. If that's you, I don't think I've had a mail from you yet. Or if you've spoken to me in the last couple of weeks and said you've sent me a mail, then that's fine. But I do have a few where somebody's won it and then never mailed me with the details. So make sure you mail me, because they're just going to sit there and gather dust if you don't. So well done to our stickery winners. Yes. Right. Where are we up to? Edward Lennon gets a stained dangle. Yay! Says Team Inept. Thy creator says it couldn't send. Yes, there is a downside as well, is that if you type too many things, if you put in too many comments too fast, it times you out to prevent spam. So you can't just go send, because it will break. Although I do wonder if do you have like 10 different things open? That'd be quite impressive. It's a pasty stain, says Earl D. No, they're Southerners. They don't do pasties. Wow, my internet's slow. Jamie Bones has just sent you an email, Fox. Thank you, Jamie. Let's have a look. Yep, it's in my list. I've got a selection of emails in my... I've not gone into my email yet, but I can't get into my phone with gloves on, so I'll have a look in a bit. Edwin Leonard says, yeah! So there you go. So well done to our sticker winners. So what time are we on? 17:36. Okay. Well, I need a very big wee, so I'll probably finish in a minute. Not done badly. Not done badly today. Got a bit of painting done. It's kind of, as you probably can't see on camera because it's a crappy webcam, but because we were working in glazes in thin down watery paint rather than just paint on the wet palette straight off, it has helped soften any blends between the dark Mephiston red with the shade and the lighter reds on top. So that's looking quite good. I might try and do an ink outline on this. I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of soft edges on this. We've got a lot of stuff to do. We've got to do some chipping. I'm going to do chipping on this. I've got some tidy up to do. We've got some dust and dirt weathering for his feet and legs because he's going to be stood on dust. We've got to sort the eyes out because they've got to have glowy. We've got some highlight colours for the rubbery bits. Ooh, rubbery bits, you said. We've got to do the base. I've got to stop doing spaghetti burps. Actually, no, they taste really nice. Oh, I love it when a burp tastes really nice. It just makes you hungry again. It's like, I don't know if it's just me, but whenever I have food with garlic in it, like about 12 hours later, you get that kind of garlicky flavour in your mouth, and it just makes me want to go and eat lots of meat. I don't know what it is. It makes me think I want meat. I need to eat meat. Yes, we've got chipping and stuff to do, bits of weathering. We've got to do the base, and then once all that's done, we'll get it matte varnished, and then I'll go back into the metallics and sort those out so we get nice, shiny metallics. Gross Model says, don't do pasties, Cornwall wants a word. Yeah, I didn't mean that far south. I meant the rubbish bit of south, London, that kind of, your part of south. Like, further down the New is awesome, and further up the New is awesome, but you're in the rubbish bit, the southerner bit. People in Cornwall aren't really southerners, because southerners just means you're in London. You know what I mean. I know pasties were invented in Cornish. That's why they're called Cornish pasties. It's funny that. Handy tip. But I don't count that as southern, if that makes any sense. So yeah, we've got to do lots of stuff on there. So there's tons and tons to do. And then once we've got rid of this and got it done, I'll be going back to my Warhammer Conquest. Because here's the plan with Warhammer Conquest. Here's the plan as I think it at the moment. It is piling up in the front room. And I've got so much on at the minute. I can't... if you remember, I was filming like 2 types of video. My plan was to film, here's what the magazine says to do, and painting it like the magazine. And then the other ones were proper paint jobs that I do for some of the more important characters. However, the downside of that is I'd spend weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks doing all the magazine painted stuff, and then I'd have to strip them all and repaint them anyway. and also it's just a lot of content to do. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to be building stuff, because I've got a pile of like 30 or 40 issues. I need to get everything built. So once this guy's finished, I'm going to go back to doing that on the Sunday. I'm going to get everything built, figures and vehicles and all kinds of stuff. Retro Rabbit says, "Got to Scaddle, love you all, bye." Thanks for coming in, Rabbit. Get things built on the Sunday stream so that by the time it's finished and I've got to the last issue 80, I think it's 80 issues, isn't it? Got to the last one, everything's built, and then I'm going to start the painting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to not show you how to paint like the magazine says, because I suddenly realised I'm just parroting what the magazine says, and you're all capable of reading the magazine and seeing what it's a day's worth of work for no content. So what I will do is I will actually just paint them properly. The ones I've already started painting, I'll strip those and we'll start from scratch. But I'm not going to film an episode for every single issue, because it'd be like, this week we're going to paint a Space Marine. Next week, we're going to paint a Space Marine. You'll have seen the same thing. So what we'll actually do is we'll paint them in units. So there'll be one episode for painting the Space Marine, just generic Space Marine. One episode for painting Lieutenant Calcium. One episode for painting a librarian. One episode for painting a motorbike dude. One for a Death Guard. One for the main characters. Like the title characters, they'll get proper painting ones as well. But for like, if you've got 20 rank and file Primaris Marines, I'm not going to film painting a Primaris Marine 5 times, because you get, like, 5 packs of 5. I'm going to do like, here's how to paint the Primaris. So you'll have, by the end of it, a selection of painting Space Marines, painting this vehicle, painting that, painting the scenery. You're not going to get 3 million episodes, because it's the only practical way I can do it without actually losing my sanity. Because it could take me a week just to go through the magazine. If I get 4 issues a month, it can take me a week just to do all that and film it, just like the magazine. And I'm not giving you any content. If I'm just repeating what's in the magazine and it comes out looking like bish anyway, I'm not really giving you any worthy content. You want to know how to paint it properly, and that's what I want to do. So I'm probably going to wait till I've got all or most of them. I'm certainly going to wait till I've got the Master Grade Sazabi and the Perfect Grade Millennium Falcon done. Once they're done, I can hopefully make a start on some of the painting for Conquest while I'm still in the process of building lots of the models. So hopefully, but everything's going a bit slow at the minute, but I am getting there slowly. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to scrap the painting it like the magazine says, because you're all grown up, you're all capable of reading a magazine. And to be honest, most of you aren't going to do that anyway, because you're all well beyond painting it like the magazine says, which is kind of garbage. So we'll see how that goes. What, have I missed anything in chat? No. Chat's not done much since... yes, I do know what Cornish pasties are. Anyway, just had an email. What's the email? Let's have a look quick. Edward Leonard. There you go. Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to go for an enormous great big wee. So, I think we'll call it a show there. I'll put Guthorm there. I think we'll call it a show. Next week, I shall come back. I may have done a bit more on this. I might do a bit more later on today. Because now I've got the desk set up for this, I might as well just carry on with him today and get back on with the Sazabi tomorrow. So I may have gone a bit further with this. I might not. We'll see how it goes. But until next time, I shall say thank you very much for watching. I shall be back tomorrow with the eModels Monday show, so stay tuned for that on eModels channel. Don't forget this evening, of course, 8 PM of a Sunday, is Chris at Gross Models. He does his Warhammer Sunday. He's called Warhamster show. He'll be on for an hour and a half doing painting. He's doing a Shouty Dragon. What is it? It's the Mango Drango he's painting. He's making his Mango Dragon. So he's painting a big dragon thing at the moment. So yeah, go to his channel. He's just posted in the chat there. Go to his channel, Gross Models, at 8 PM tonight. If I can join in, I might be having my tea, but if I can join in, I'll join in the live chat. What else? Stay tuned for... Oh, one thing I do need to do. If you remember, I'll start that again. A couple of days ago, I posted up the second episode in the D'Agostini Build Your Own X-Wing series. I've had the next lot of issues, so it does seem that D'Agostini have actually subscribed me to it, I think. So I posted up a new episode. It's up in early access for Patreon supporters right now. And it'll come out to everybody else. I think next Thursday it'll go out onto general release to everybody else. I think we are now back on with that project. So stay tuned, because that should be up next week. But if you remember, when I did the first episode, I did do a giveaway. I had a spare copy of the big old blueprint that comes with the kit with the first couple of issues. And I did a thing where I asked you to put a comment on that video, and I would draw a winner when I did the next episode. Well, I've put the next episode up. That's going to go up to public on Thursday. So what I will be doing is next Thursday I will put up the video for the. I'll make that video available, and I will also upload a quick couple of minute winner draw for that. It's a massive full-size blueprint of the X-Wing. So it's as big as the kit I'm going to be making. So if you want a chance to win it and you've not done it already, go to my homepage again, my YouTube homepage, click on playlist. There's an X-Wing, D'Agostini X-Wing. I think it's the first video, which is the one that says addendum, and because the first video is actually a thing saying I screwed something up, don't do this. Then you've got episode 7, which is the first episode. There's a joke there. And episode 8 isn't up yet. So go to that first addendum one. You'll see it's got like 70 odd comments on it. And it'll say giveaway or something like that in the title. Just put your comment on there. I can't remember what the requirement was. I don't really care. Just put a comment on there, basically, if you haven't entered it already. And I'll pull a winner next week. And it's for the big, full-size, massive blueprint. So there, don't forget. Anyway, that's going to do us. So, and I may come back during the week with a Sazabi stream if I've got stuff to do that I can stream while I'm doing it. So we'll see. I might not, so don't panic. But that's going to do us. So I shall say thank you very much for watching. I really need to go for a massive, great big Wii. Big Wii, the biggest Wii you can even imagine. I've got the best Wii. The best Wiis I do. So I shall see you next week for that. So until then, I shall say thank you very much for watching. You are lovely, lovely people. Take care of yourselves. Don't forget, of course, if you want to support this channel, you can do on Patreon, patreon.com/modelmakingGuru. And don't forget to support my channel supporters at Goblin Gaming. Link in the description below this video. If you need to pick up any Games Workshop, Malifaux, Conflict 47, or any tabletop gaming stuff at massive, massive savings and make me a little bit of money, help this channel out, use the link in the description below the video for Goblin Gaming. And that would be awesome, awesome, awesome. But that's going to do us. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Candy Ground from Mongo says full-size blueprint like 1-to-1. Yes, but full-size to the model, not full-size to the actual X-Wing. The X-Wing's like, it's going to be about 2.5 foot long. So it's as big as the D'Agostini X-Wing. So you can see how big it's going to be. Anyway, yes, take care. See you all maybe a bit later on this evening. And if not, I'll see you on Monday. And if not, I'll see you during the week. But until then, take care. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. You there. Painty finger. And I shall say, I've forgotten what to press now. I don't know which button I'm pressing. Oh yeah, thank you very much for watching. Take care. See you next week. Bye.